I know, but I don't think I've turned on the TV there. Oh, I'm live, sorry, I'll start. Okay. Thank you. Welcome to the February 4th, 2026 meeting of the Conservation Commission. The Wareham Conservation Commission will hold a meeting under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the General Laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, the Town of Wareham Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Division 6, and any other applicable laws. All hearings of the Wareham Conservation Commission are held simultaneously under the authorities of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act and the Town of Wareham Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Division 6. Although a single decision of the Commission is issued, it represents a separate decision under each authority. All matters listed may involve a discussion and possible vote. Calling the meeting order, roll call, please. I'll start with Scott.
Scott Sobey.
Paula Jean O'Neill.
Sandy Slavin.
Michael Mercier.
Kwame Bardi.
And online,
Jessica Parr.
well, welcome. I hope you're not too cold down there.
I'm managing, thank you.
I declare we have a quorum and we can start our public meetings. Please, Michael, the first hearing.
All right. Let's see. Pursuant to the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw, Division 6, a public hearing will be held in room 520, Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass, on Wednesday, February 4th, 2026, at 6 p.m. All right, first hearing. On the request for determination of applicability for David Andrade, P.O. Box 255, Onset, Mass. The applicant is proposing to construct a new single-family dwelling. The property is located within land subject to coastal storm flowage zone VE18. There are no other wetland resource areas within 100 feet of the property. Map 1, Lot 770, 771, 307, Onset Avenue, Wareham, Mass. And notice to open the hearing, please.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, I have to do a roll call. Jessica.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Paula Jean. Sandy, yes. Michael.
Yes.
Kwame, yes. Okay, we've opened the hearing. Anybody here representing this project?
Good evening, Brian Grady, GAF Engineering, here for Mr. Andrade, who is present, if you need him to answer any questions. What Mr. Andrade is proposing is to construct a duplex on this property. We are showing the duplex, proposed driveway. We have dry wells shown, two chambers for each side of the duplex property. Minimal amount of grading. Since it's in the flood zone, it'll be constructed on a slab. There'll be no basement, so grading modifications are pretty minimal, and the site is connected to municipal sewer and water. And if we can answer any questions, as read in the advertisement, there's no buffer zone work to any adjacent wetlands. The only resource area is land subject to coastal storm flowage.
Okay, I'm going to start with Kwame. Questions?
Oh, no questions, thank you.
Michael.
I'm just curious, yeah, that's all, because I just couldn't really tell because the land's covered in snow, basically. It looks like one side is covered in there's a paved sidewalk on one side, but it doesn't look like there's one on the other, and the map showing that. Is that correct? I was just curious, that's all.
Well, there's the driveway, and then there's that little short section of sidewalk that goes to stairs to an upper deck. So those parallel lines, that's stairs going to an upper deck. Since it's in the flood zone, we have to get that first floor elevation
All right.
2 feet up above the flood elevation to the finished floor.
Okay, so the paved sidewalks on Onset Avenue, and then I guess it's on Camp Street or 11th Street, I guess it is. There's no sidewalk on there, and that's where the driveway comes out on? That's all.
Right, there's no sidewalk in the Camp Street side, it's on the Onset Ave side. The municipal sidewalk is what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I misunderstood.
Yeah, that's just what I thought. I just couldn't tell because, again, the ground's so
Yeah.
covered right now.
And it's going to be for a while.
And then I looked at the map, so. All right, that's what I want to know. Thank you.
Paula Jean.
No, saw the stakes sticking up out of the snow. No questions, thanks.
You didn't walk over and check?
Scott.
Kind of like it was
Pretty, sorry.
I just have a general information, maybe it's not general. Brian, could you let us know what a poppet drainage emitter is in the inspection port?
Well, in the event of a heavy rain, what happens is that exactly what it calls, it's a pop-up emitter, so the water pressure will pop up, so the water will come out there rather than back up maybe and come out at the gutter at the foundation. So that would be the only point of relief, is where the gutter goes into a pipe, which usually isn't tight. So the pressure would relieve it out on the lawn rather than directly adjacent to the foundation.
And then would that water flow into the storm, the town's, along Onset Avenue into the storm drain system?
Well, it would go into the lawn first, and if it's a heavy enough rain that pop-up emitter is working, there's going to be a lot of municipal runoff in the roadway, so any excess will potentially get into the roadway system if the storm is significant enough.
Rather than toward the wetlands?
Well, there are no wetlands, it's land subject to coastal storm flowage, so it would go into the Minnesota, if it's a significant enough storm, which would have to be pretty significant.
All right, thank you. No more questions?
Jessica?
No questions.
All right, the house has to come up with 2 feet, that's all that's needed?
The finished floor is 19, the existing grade is around 8, so the finished floor is about 11 feet above existing grade.
So it'll be up on pylons for 11 feet up?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm sorry, but I am putting on my sewer hat. The policy says for duplexes, we need a sewer line from both of the properties, both of the homes.
Okay.
So I see one sewer line, you really need one from each of the duplex. They can join and become one into the lateral, but they need them both coming out of the house, each one.
Well, we do have a sewer pipe coming out of each unit.
I'm not seeing it.
Well, it's in the back of the dwelling. You'll see that S line underneath the
Sorry, I
elevated deck.
apologize. Now I see it. They're both, yes, you have 2 coming out.
And then they do
combining.
join and go to one manhole. Yes,
Sorry, I had put my sewer hat on,
no problem.
because not many people realize that policy. Okay. I had no other questions. It was just that the applicant, the ad did not indicate, it said a single-family dwelling, but your narrative said duplex, so I was confused as to what this was going to be, because it was not advertised as a duplex.
Right.
That's posted as a duplex in your agenda at the plan.
Yes, I know
indicates a
that, but
duplex,
the
yeah.
ad that went
Yep.
in the paper said single-family dwelling, and so that was a little, okay. Anybody in the audience that has a comment on this project? Anybody online? Christine, your comments?
Just one. Do you know how much of the land subject to coastal storm flowage is being altered?
Well, it's probably going to be all of it eventually once you account for landscaping, because if you were able to see it without the snow, it's just a disturbed lot at this point. There was a home on here several years ago that was raised. So if you account for landscaping, I would say the entire lot.
A whole lot, okay.
Anything else?
Is it land subject to coastal storm flowage or land subject to broken water main?
It's been a little cold.
Yeah.
Okay,
Make a motion to close the hearing, please.
I have that motion.
Second.
And I have a second. All in favor by
Aye.
roll call. Jessica?
Aye.
Scott? Paula
Aye.
Jean? Michael?
Aye.
Kwame?
Yes.
Sandy, aye. The hearing is closed. Christine, your recommendation?
-2, -6.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Jessica?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Paula Jean? Michael?
Aye.
Kwame? Sandy? Yes, it's approved. Please see Christine for your paperwork before you start the work.
Well, thank you very much.
And I'm sure the church is going to be pretty unhappy losing its parking.
I thought it was the Blue Flame.
You're dated yourself.
Sorry.
Okay,
Right.
next, please.
All right, on the request for determination of applicability for Daniel Erb, 17 Copper Beach Road, Kingston, Mass. 02364. Remove and rebuild an existing 57-foot by 3-foot retaining wall with new concrete blocks. Wall is currently 37 feet from the water's edge. Map 76, Lot S3, 66 Blackmore Pond Road in Wareham, Mass. And finally, notice to open hearing, please.
So moved.
I have that. I need a second.
Second.
All in favor? Jessica?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Paula Jean? Michael?
Aye.
Conway?
Yes.
Sandy? Yes, the hearing is open. And who's here representing this project? Nobody. Christine, did you hear any requests to have a continuance?
No.
Move to continue until,
Can we table
Table.
and see? Do you mind making that
until we
change?
wait,
Table it and see if they might come up in the next half hour or so.
move to table
Second.
until,
I have a motion to table and a second. All in favor, Jessica?
Aye.
aye.
Paula Jean?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Kwame?
Yes.
Sandy, at 6:11, we're table. Okay. Next, please.
All right. On the request for a notice of intent for Susan and David Roderick, 569 Rodante Way, Sacramento, California, 02127, reconstruction of an existing deck, map 22, lot D8, 16 Willows Cove Lane, Wareham, Mass. And notice to open hearing, please.
Second.
I have a motion and second. All in favor, Jessica?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Paula Jean? Michael?
Aye.
Kwame? Sandy, yes, the hearing is open. Who's here representing this project?
I am. And I would be Bill Lockwood from Lockwood Architects.
All right. You're up.
Okay, what we have is a small deck, not a dock, because you can't bring a boat to it, at the end of a right-of-way, which is in poor repair and need of replacement. The petitioners are deed holders on the easement, but not owners of the property. The deck itself is about 5 feet by 16 feet, and the existing, the work is proposed to be done from the land side by, pretty much by hand. And they'll carry the materials in, rebuild it, and carry the materials out. So rebuild in place or let it fall apart, so. And in
Questions?
your booklet, you should have a picture of what we're proposing. There should be a picture of,
We have, it was part of the plan that showed the steps going up and down, being able to pull
Right.
steps and down.
and there's a picture of the existing deck in there,
Yes.
in there as well, so.
Okay. Questions? I'm going to start with Kwame.
No questions, thank you.
Michael?
No questions at this time, thank you.
Paula Jean?
I'm scrolling fast to see the pictures again. I haven't got it, but, so one question I have, is the new dock going to be the same size as
Exactly
old?
the same size.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. So I do have a question. I don't know if this is really our purview or not, but can you build a dock when it's not your land and it's just a right-of-way? I'm just curious because
I
from
I
my
would
own-
say that's
Because I
a
know it's the
matter of some
Jeffrey
debate.
Johnson.
I know it's a matter of some debate.
Yeah.
And I don't frankly know the answer, and I'm not sure this body needs to know that answer in order to
Probably
make their
not, but I-
determination.
I just wondered,
Yeah.
since you were here, because my understanding was that you couldn't, and that I could be educated.
Well, they have the right to pass and repass
Pass and
it.
repass, right.
And it's for brighter people than me to determine whether they have the right to rebuild something that's
This is just for our piece.
there.
Okay. Thank you.
Scott, questions?
I don't see a detailed plan or any plan really for the dock itself.
It's a deck.
It's not that long thing sticking out into the water.
No, it doesn't go into the water at all.
What am I looking at?
Isn't it, it's almost over the water, though. I was there
Well,
at the end today.
the tide may come in
Yeah, so
underneath
it's
it,
Underneath it, so it
but
has,
it's not a pier in the water. It doesn't touch the water.
right.
The water may touch it at some point in time, but
Well, the question I would have is, so if a dock is built over the water or the land adjacent to the water, there are requirements in the bylaws about spacing of the decking materials and so on. And I don't see, like I said, I don't see the materials list or anything here.
we're using PVC decking, pressure-treated framing. Those are the primary ingredients.
Yeah, so but you're saying at the higher tides, the piers would be in the water?
No. Only in some sort of extreme storm event
Yeah.
would the tide get up that high.
It was today, I believe. And I waded through the snow out there, and it looked like it's water's directly underneath it. I know it's not deep for a boat, but it's still in the water.
Oh, there's water on the ground down below, but that's 5 feet below the supports.
Right.
Yeah, so the two issues are whether the lumber that's used, that will be in water at some point, is okay to be PT, or whether it should be green heart material. And then the second question would be whether the deck boards are spaced to meet the bylaws.
But
Because there's a shading issue is what they're worried about. So 5 feet up in the winter time is not such a big deal because it's not a big growing season anyway. And then with the angle of the sun,
Well, Scott, it's sitting on rock, which, it's sitting on boulder, so we're not really impacting vegetative growth.
yeah, it's not just vegetative growth. It's like any other living stuff that's underneath there, so.
Yeah. But we can space it such that.
That it meets code. I forget what the spacing is, but,
Whatever that is, we can maintain that.
okay. Yeah, no other questions?
Jessica?
I am curious about whether we can approve a structure in an easement when for the easement holder and not the landowner. Can we do that?
I don't think we have an answer to that. And that is one of my concerns, is that we have somebody who's allowed to walk up and down this, who has made a decision to apply for rebuilding of a piece of property on someone else's land. Right away is one thing, ownership is another, and you're right, I am concerned, and I would love to have a ruling from our town council as to whether or not we can allow somebody who doesn't own the property to modify that property, right?
Or from the planning director, maybe, would have some insight. I don't know.
Oh, well,
No insight from the planning director.
Jessica, anything else?
I just am concerned that our decision would be used in a way that we wouldn't intend it if it's not something that we can actually decide on.
So should we continue until we get a ruling from the town council?
Well, I would like to, not yet, I mean, because I'm
Well,
sure there might
just
be some,
considering.
yeah, yes, we probably would, but that would be my concern, is I agreed with Jessica that I'm not sure the people who have these are the same people who modified and cut down vegetations along this walkway, correct? That hasn't come back to us.
I have heard that, I don't know.
Well, they did say they cleared the walkway and cut vegetation off of the homeowner's property. Okay, so whether or not they can go up and down this fold-down ladder is another issue, and not to be part of this decision, but I see that Josh has joined us. Did you have a chance to recognize what our concern would be for this property? I know Christine had mentioned something.
Yeah, I think you were going in the right direction. There would be a question whether or not someone could construct something in the easement, especially if the deed strictly gives the right to pass and repass, which I believe is what the deed says. Yeah.
That's the language.
Yeah, and like Jessica, I'm concerned that if we make a decision on this, they may use that as a reason why it was allowed.
Yeah, and historically, when we've seen any type of project like this, you usually have a letter from the actual property owner giving the applicant the right to do so, which I don't believe we have here.
No.
And to be honest, I've only been on this board, 10-plus years, and I never had this situation before of somebody building something on land they did not own, even
Right.
with the right-of-way.
Yep.
So, I believe what we're asking for is that Christine reach out to town council and ask for a ruling from Mr. Bowen as to whether or not this is something that we can permit.
Yeah, so I do have a couple of comments here. I actually did get an email from the owner at 16 Widows Cove from their lawyer, who wanted me to read into the record for tonight some things that they had been talking about. One of them being that there is already a notice of intent on 16 Widows Cove. And the first time that we had him come in to refile for that, he had to amend that order. So they are saying that there can't be a new NOI, it has to be a modification of the existing NOI. And there's also a pending enforcement action that remains unresolved, and it should be resolved in advance of any new notice of intent. They also said the owner has not consented to or signed the application. The applicant never sought the owner's consent. The applicant never advised the owner of its intent prior to filing. As a matter of law, the applicant should have presented the owner with proposed plans and sought the owner's consent prior to filing any notice of intent or taking any other action impacting the owner's property. They're saying that the applicant has no right to seek permits or approvals under the easement. They have no right to construct any improvements under the easement, and they have no right to install a kayak storage area on the owner's property under the easement. So that's just something that they wanted me to read into the record. As far as this goes, I have actually heard from the Department of Environmental Protection about it as well, because of that pending notice of intent, and because the enforcement order that was put on that property hasn't been resolved yet. They were concerned about that. The analyst who had reviewed this was unaware of the background of this property. So I do think that it would be best to figure out whether or not it can be done legally. And I know that I will also hear back from one of the analysts at Mass DEP about it as well. I believe they were trying to get in touch with their wetlands lawyer. So, and I'll talk to town council when I have the chance, when I see him, which should be tomorrow, yeah, Josh? Tomorrow.
Okay. Scott, you would suggest that we do a continuance until the 28th?
I'm wondering now if the continuance is the right thing.
Well,
Considering that there's this other complication of the other NOI, maybe denial is the way to go. And they're always free to, once all the legal stuff is cleared up, they can reapply.
so a denial because the, because they have an order of standing.
That would be the reasoning.
There's an open order of conditions already and a pending enforcement order.
And an enforcement order.
Perhaps the applicant would like to withdraw.
Well, the applicant might like to withdraw rather than be denied. And although like to withdraw is a different
Would you like to
question.
speak to your party before?
So we could continue and give them 2 weeks to have that conversation.
Yeah, I think that might be a better situation. They're both out of town at this point.
So move to,
Although, Dr. Broderick may be somewhere on Zoom land there.
John, is there anybody named Roderick online? Okay, nor have they raised their hand to comment on this. Okay, so we're looking at a continuance.
I do have an individual named Jeff who just raised their hand.
Oh, yeah. That's the land.
All right, please let them in.
Hello, can everybody hear me okay?
Yes,
Thank you, Commission, for your time there and
Identify.
consideration as. Sandy, I see you holding up your finger.
yeah.
Is that
can
for
you-
me?
I saw a Jeff, but I don't have a last name, please, for the
Oh,
record.
I'm sorry, Jeff, I apologize. Jeffrey Johnson, owner of the property at 16
Thanks.
Widows Cove Lane.
Okay, your comments.
First, thank you, Christina, for reading that into the record. I know certainly it's not this commission's job to create or the laws of land use and so forth, so I do appreciate that. As was mentioned by Christine and some of the points there, I just have a couple additional things. As you mentioned, Sandy, or Commissioner, now it seems like it's a little bit clearer picture as to why the majority of that brush was removed was not in fact to create access nor because there was a tick issue, but rather the desire to create a larger area to bring a kayak back and forth. And I guess what I'd like to see happen at least is being able to move forward with my replanting schedule as working with the DEP and now having to amend set application to the application that I brought in front of the board, which was determined that needs to be amended as opposed to applied for. The other thing that I'm a little bit curious about, on the application, there's what appears to be a highlighted assessor's page that's maybe referring to a dock. I don't know if there's a belief that the structure that they're quote unquote rebuilding, I don't think was a permitted structure to begin with. That they're, unless I have no other reasoning to understand why the applicant would have attached the assessor's plan and highlighted that area, other than to have the belief that that was not the third dock that I have the third floating dock that I have the right to, which is not currently in place. If he thought that was the deck that it currently is at the end of the easement, well, that would be wrong. I have the right and have the engineering and have the permits for 3 floating docks at my location. So this dock that is looking to be rebuilt, I believe, or to my best of my knowledge, wasn't a permitted structure to begin with. Then the other thing is the commission has brought up in partial is that these plans are very minimal at best. I mean, there's no way of showing, all right, is that ladder coming up and down? To say that the water is 5 feet below that's not the case. There's been times when water has crashed up onto my lawn. So, and it's not, you know what I mean? There's not any real proof or any matter of fact that's been shown as to what level of quality that deck needs to be built. Furthermore, the initial statement was it wasn't going to increase the footprint, and that's not true, because unless they're just taking out the boards and replacing the boards, that would be not increasing the footprint. But according to that drawing, there's a kayak there, and it's hanging there, so they are increasing the footprint, which means if they're increasing that footprint, I cannot do what this commission asked me to do and replant the bushes that the project's cut down.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments.
And then the other thing, and the last statement I'd like to just for consideration, the projects aren't the only ones that have the right to this easement. There are other easement holders that I don't know if they've reached out to, had discussion with, or even considered, but is this going to now turn into a kayak station, or is this just exclusive rights for the projects to keep their kayak not on their dock, which has never been there, but for their, at the end of the easement, that they, in their previous meeting, said that they did not cut the trees at the higher elevations because they could not use a ladder physically.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else? We would continue to,
if
I
I-
think,
If I
Bill?
may I
Yeah.
respond to a couple of things Mr. Johnson said?
please.
He spoke to the highlighted section in the assessor's map, not map, but the assessor's data sheet.
Card.
Card. There are actually, one of four, he mentioned three docks that he's permitted for, and that there are actually four listed there.
And does it include this deck in one of those?
I believe that the 90 square feet is approximately the same size as what we have there. So
All right.
that's what, I believe it applies to that. And secondly, that was a permitted structure, and I do not have it with me this evening, but I do have a copy of the building permit and could supply that.
All right. So we are going to continue for a decision whether or not you want to withdraw, denial. We get an idea of the outstanding order of conditions, the existing enforcement order, and then the legal standings of building on someone else's property with only a right of passage. Is that it? So we're anything else?
Excuse me? I do have one other thing as far as the structural integrity. They've spoke to the fact that it looks like they're lagging into the existing rocks. Has there been anything done to ensure that that proposed structure is going to be able to be supported by the current conditions there? Has there been erosion? I believe that structure was built in the early 90s. I don't know what the current state of that structure is, those rocks and so forth. Has there been any reach out or discussion? And I'm assuming there's probably 91A that needs to be done with regards to requirement of getting down to the beach and right-of-way passage and so forth?
Don't know. Josh, you were having,
Yeah, I think I can make this pretty simple for the board. For one matter, if you look at the notice of intent application, under the signatures required, one is of the applicant, one is of the property owner, if different than the applicant, and then there's a signature of a representative. Looking at the one that was submitted, there's 0 signatures. So you could consider the application incomplete on that merit.
there's no one signed up,
There's no
not
signatures.
even the applicant.
Right. And if the question, Madam Chair, through you to Mr. Johnson, Mr. Johnson, would you be in favor or against supporting this application if it had gone to you?
No.
Okay. So then, I think what the commission should do is consider this an incomplete application. It was notified, it was noticed and abutters were notified, but I would consider it an incomplete application. And I would put the onus on the Brodricks to get a legal opinion that they have the right to build under the easement.
Okay. So we now have a new twist that the application was incomplete because there's absolutely no signatures. Yes, Bill?
On the electronic copy, there may not be any signatures, but on the paper copies that you have, there are 2 out of 3 signatures.
The missing one being the owner, the property owner?
The missing one being the property
I
owner.
don't know.
It seems
I would then still consider that incomplete.
Incomplete.
It's signature of property owner if different. Because you have a deeded access doesn't make you a property owner.
All right, then if we continue this until the 18th, it will get the applicant formal acknowledgement that they need Mr. Johnson's signature. And they have 2 weeks in order to obtain it, in order to complete the application.
Plus, they need a ruling from some legal authority.
Written opinion from their council that they have the right to build within an easement.
All right, and I would like one from our own, from the town's council, so that there is two views, so to speak.
Well, if you want two views, you could get a written opinion from Mr. Johnson's council.
I'm not going to ask Mr.
There- I don't believe there's any reason for the town to step in the middle of this.
I'm
No,
sorry, I feel comfortable with the town, as we are representing the town, that someone from the town tells us whether or not we can and cannot do this, as opposed to having a,
Wouldn't that be moot? Because if the application is incomplete, that's right there. There's our answer. If it's not complete, then we cannot deal with it,
The town council,
rejecting it for that reason.
I'm sorry, the town council can also say, I don't want to do anything. I don't want, let's leave that to outside council to make a ruling. That doesn't need to come to
If
me.
you want me to ask them, I will.
please. Please speak.
Yes, of course.
So the question is, do we want to continue it?
Yes, we want to continue because we need, the applicant knows that he has until the 18th to get a complete signatures on the application. And then if he can't get the owner to sign it, then he has to make a decision whether or not he want to withdraw or we deny it. And one of the things I heard from Christine is that, does that mean that everybody that has a kayak and that has rights to walk down this pathway will put a kayak at the end of it? I heard that from Christine, and that's a question that has to be asked.
You know,
That was from Jeff.
what I know is that it's a right to pass to the beach, which is something that has value.
Yes,
As such, it could be bought, sold, transferred, or ignored, or expanded.
Not expanded.
and it's one of those things that kayak will be over the land usage, which means, how do they get it? Never mind. I just don't know how are they going to get it kayak up and down a set of aluminum folding ladder that it looks to me to be quite steep.
Move to continue to
Yes, we're
February
going to
18th.
continue into the 18th.
Second?
I have that motion. All in favor, Jessica?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Paula Jean? Michael?
Aye.
Kwame?
Yes.
Sandy? Yes, we're continued until the 12th, to the 18th with a lot of different reasons.
Thank you all for
Okay, Bill. Next, please.
All right. A request for a notice of intent for David Menard, 95 Church Pond Road, Wareham, Mass. Sidewalk installation along West Boulevard, accessibility upgrades, minor site restoration and improvements. Map 1, Lot 1048, 186 Onset Avenue, 0 West Boulevard, Wareham, Mass. And notice to open hearing, please.
I have that motion.
Second.
In a second, all in favor? Aye, opposed, sorry.
Jessica?
Jessica?
Aye.
Scott, aye.
Paula
Aye.
Jean? Michael?
Aye.
Kwame?
Yes.
Sandy, yes, the hearing is open. Is there anybody here from the town to represent this project?
I have two online that raise their hand.
All right, let him in, please.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Great.
All right, please identify yourselves.
Yes, Alex Gaspar from Weston and Sampson.
Alex, your last name and spell it for me.
Gaspar.
And
Shelley McComb from Weston and Sampson. Its last name is McComb.
so you're here from,
And I'm Bill Storty from Weston and Sampson.
and who?
Bill Storty, Storti.
All from Winston and Sampson?
Correct.
All right, who's going to take the lead on giving us an overview?
I will start us off. We actually have a quick PowerPoint presentation that I will screen share, if that's all right. Just share. All right.
Could someone click the light on the switch on the left, please?
Other one.
The other left. There you go. Thanks.
I'm asleep.
All right.
The other left, from the other side.
Okay. Hopefully you are, I believe you're all seeing my screen. But as sort of mentioned, I'm Alex Gaspar from Weston and Sampson here on behalf of the town to present the notice of intent for the West Boulevard Sidewalk Improvements Project. We did receive a DEP file number prior to this hearing, and we did not receive any technical comments back from DEP. Sort of already run through this a little bit, but our client is the town of Wareham, specifically David Menard, the Director of Municipal Maintenance. We are joined by staff from Weston and Sampson, including Bill Storty, our project manager, myself on the environmental permitting, also joined by Shelley McComb, also on the environmental permitting. I'll now turn it over to Shelley to orient you to the site.
Okay, just real quick, here's an overview of the site. So the proposed project in red here will run north to south along West Boulevard, located in Onset. It is in Onset Bay that feeds into Buzzards Bay. And I am going to pass it over to Bill to go into more of the project details.
So the scope of work that we were contracted to do was to provide like an ADA compliant sidewalk from Onset to Shell Point. Right now, there's like 400 feet of sidewalk on the eastern side. I'm sorry, the kind of the northeast side from Onset in about 400 feet. They're looking to develop, ADA compliance for pedestrian safety mostly, and to provide places for future sidewalk development to further serve the neighborhood, because it's pretty well developed area. Next slide. So in round numbers, we're going to be installing 2,675 feet of sidewalk. It'll be concrete sidewalk. Where it's along the road, it'll be 6-inch granite curb. We'll show you on future slides where we do bump off the road a little bit to save trees and to reduce grading. All the curb will be granite in the future. There's 2 staircases. You can see one of them on the left there that are failing, don't really have safe handrails that the town has asked us to include in the project. And there are a few trees that are going to be taken down as a result of the project, but most of them are either dead or on their way. I'll just briefly go through these drawings. We'll start top left. That would be the driveway heading down to Shell Point, and the sidewalk. There's existing sidewalk from that point to the south all the way down to the southern intersection with Onset. So we're looking to build off that location and head north to Onset that way. You can just see where the hatched areas, which are maybe hard to see here, will be our ramps. The staircase you'll see is I don't know if, yeah, right there is the staircase. So we're taking the sidewalk off the road right there at that first set of stairs to protect the mature trees there. And then we just, we keep on the edge of the road. You'll see in some locations the sidewalk widens a little bit, and that would be to provide an ADA compliant width at utility poles. The little green highlighted areas will be root protection to protect the sidewalk from, future root growth of the trees and popping the concrete panels. And then we'll just move down the road. We just basically stay along the edge of the road until we dive off near 2nd Street. And that's to save that set of trees, and also because it'll require less grading there to maintain the required ADA cross slope. The circles you see there in the road are going to be drywall installations. I think we have like 6 or 7 of them that we're locating in areas that you can see are like local low spots in the road with sand spits are there constantly. So we're looking to install, the town asked us to include those because there's very little drainage, formal drainage on the road as we speak. Next slide. And again, from the top left, we'll just move to the right. Again, sidewalks right on the edge of the road. There is existing curb in most locations. That's just going to get ripped out and replaced with granite. And you can see where we're installing the ramps because there'll be a crosswalk, pavement markings. There'll be signage on each of these, denoting a little, about 30 feet ahead of the crossings that there'll be a new crossing, and to warn vehicular traffic if they happen to be traveling in the correct direction, because this is a one-way street that has issues. And then bottom right of this slide, you'll see that that's where these on the bottom of this, the bottom of the street, that's where the sidewalk exists. So we'll be replacing that all the way to onset, but continuing with the new installation all the way to onset from here. You can go to the next slide. And we'll be basically the entire length of the sidewalk is going to be during construction will be protected by like a compost filter sock for the length of it. There'll be minimal driveway, like we'll do limited driveway repairs and limited grading to make up for the having to keep we're going to try to keep the 1.5% cross slope on the ramp to meet ADA and connect into these sidewalks on both the north and south portions of the intersection with onset. So that's basically the scope of the project.
Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go over our anticipated environmental impacts. So we do anticipate to impact coastal bank, land subject to coastal storm flowage, that's at elevation 14 feet, the 100-foot buffer zone, and the 50-foot no activity zone. I want to highlight that the Wareham local bylaw implements the 50-foot no activity zone, and the rest of these resource areas are protected under the Wetlands Protection Act. And Alex is going to go into a bit more detail about those on the next slide.
Thank you, Shelley. So Shelley listed the resource areas that will be impacting. I am just sort of running through all of the resources that were found on site during our delineation. So this includes coastal bank, which varies throughout the site depending on elevation. The bank areas are these pink polygons here. So it sort of varies. We used LIDAR and the coastal bank slope requirements to sort of determine these limits. But based on that, the coastal bank sort of varies from either being non-present, where you are seeing those gaps, or the point above the flood zone where the slope becomes less than 4:1, which is where these dark pink lines acting as the top of bank are showing. We also have coastal beach, which is marked by the landward limit of the highest astronomical tide, which in this area is elevation 1.81. We have coastal dune, which is the landward edge of any ridges of sediment deposit found, which were ID'd in the field. And then salt marsh, which was identified by salt tolerant vegetation, as well as that highest astronomical tide that I mentioned earlier.
So here's just an overview of the FEMA flood map. It's important to note that the base flood elevation for the entire project, or the majority of the project site, is 14 feet. And as you can see, the majority of the work does fall within the FEMA flood zone.
And then lastly, just running you through our anticipated environmental impacts. We are impacting, as Shelley mentioned, coastal bank, land subject to coastal storm flowage, the 100-foot buffer, and the 50-foot no activity zone. I won't read these numbers to you because they are the same as in the notice of intent, but our temporary impacts sort of consist of the compost filter tubes and erosion control, and then any laydown areas. That is going to be our temporary impact. The permanent impact is going to result from obviously the sidewalk, the curbing, grading, the staircase replacement, as well as the driveway work that's occurring on the site. As Bill mentioned, we are going to have to remove some trees as part of this work to make way for the sidewalk. We are avoiding that to the maximum extent as we can, but just to make way for the sidewalk, some must be removed. We are replacing these with a gray birch and 6 black chokeberry to sort of make up for those removed. We did pick sort of smaller species that we thought would work with the sidewalk nicely. And then lastly, as Bill mentioned, we are using compost filter tubes around the entirety of the project area. And I believe that is it. One quick thing I do want to mention is we did provide the applicant and representative signature pages, and I believe one of the property owner signature pages, but we are still waiting on some of the additional property owner signature pages at this time. And now open it up to questions.
Quite a project. Okay. I walked the road before the snow fell, so I have pictures. Okay, I'm going to start with Kwame.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I know it's a lot.
Had scrambled, but when you start the project, how are you going to stage all the excavation, all the materials, and all the other good stuff? It's all going to be sort of like staged in sections, right? I mean, you're just not going to do this all in one day, right?
Right. What they'll do is they'll end up, most sidewalk contractors will do this in like chunks. They'll remove like 300 feet of sidewalk. That'll all get, that and the backfill material, the existing subbase will get removed. And it's up to the contractor to find a location, to dispose of that. Then they'll bring in, the gravel, and they'll form it up, and then they'll do pours, 30-foot pours staggered for like that 300 feet. So in a week they'll do, 300 or 600 feet. But everything will be, we don't anticipate anything being staged there other than the forms, which are basically just 2x6s. They're going to be trucking the material in and trucking the material out, unloading gravel. There's going to be, there for one, there's no location for stockpiling in that area, so they will be trucking in and out.
Right, because
I would think the project would probably take like 2 months.
In that area is really tight, so like you're not going to be doing this during the summertime, obviously.
Right.
Yeah, so that's all my questions. Thank you.
Michael?
All right, so on this project, it looks like you said there's 2 stairwells, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
They exist now.
I'm sorry?
They exist now. We're replacing them with more stable and safe stairs.
Okay, because I was going to say, so they're going to look like, I guess, more like, concrete and, concrete stairs, and I guess wooden handrails, I guess, next?
No, I think we're specking out like a 2-inch tubular stainless steel or galvanized steel handrail running down there.
Gotcha. I was trying to read the plans. I couldn't quite understand exactly what it's saying. So it's going to be a handrails, sorry, steels as far as the handrails go, and
The stairs they'll be poured in place concrete stairs. They'll be formed on site.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
I'm skipping Paula Jean for a minute. Jessica, anything?
No questions.
Scott?
The new stairwells, picking up on Michael's questions, will they be in the same footprint as the existing ones?
I made it so that the bottom step of each is actually back a little bit. They're not legal now, that like the risers are they're not equal. In some cases they're like 10 inches. So we're doing an 8-inch riser starting from a little bit back at the beach. So they extend a little further up the hill than they do now.
But from side to side?
Roughly the same footprint though.
But from side to side, I'm not sure.
Side to side, same width, yes.
Okay. I'm trying to, I've run and walked that hundreds of times, that same area, and I can't picture where there's 400 feet of sidewalk. Can you point that out on your overview map? Any one of those will do.
It's on you can go to like the last design page.
Start with C102 off of Onset Ave? Yeah, start there.
Right, so right there, so if you want to just run your cursor over like the bottom sidewalk there's sidewalk that exists in front of the houses. It's in pretty poor shape. I think that might be bituminous. Yeah, so it runs like 400 feet. It actually exists all the way, wraps around the corner heading down Onset and wraps around to I think 9th Street, I believe. And it's that we're proposing as an alternate. That will be an alternate to the work, depending on how the bids come in, to replace that.
It must be almost invisible, because
So there's sidewalk on only one side now.
Yeah.
And only for about 400 feet, correct.
So if I look at, I don't know where north and south is, but I think it's south is where it exists now and it's in bad shape.
Yes.
Why are these brown and they're not brown on the rest of them?
That was a graphical thing. It didn't print out for me for some reason, but that's only it's all the same sidewalk for the full length of the road.
But if I go to C101, they're brown, but they're not on C100.
That's right. It's a function of the program I was using. It didn't print out for me.
Thank you. I couldn't understand why it stopped being brown, but okay. I'm sorry, Scott, continue your questions.
So you're pouring concrete slabs for these sidewalks?
Yes.
Which are, of course, impervious. Is there a possibility of using a different kind of material that would be more pervious? I mean, right now, there are other sidewalks in town that are interlocking brick. I don't know how pervious those are. They've been in there for 50 years, I think. But is there any?
The block ones tend to not, they tend to fill up with material over time, and most of, like, if you further down by Shell, all the other sidewalks, like to the south of like Shell Point, they're like the interlocking, pavers. They were probably when they were installed had a limited amount of function, as in allowed some groundwater in, but I'm pretty sure by now they probably don't, because they'd be so packed in with road sands and other things, and I'd be surprised if they were pervious.
I agree. So, but in the intervening 50 years, there must have been technological advancements that would allow some kind of a durable pavement structure that would allow for the movement of water. You wouldn't have to use concrete.
Well, I mean, I think there's also the ADA component, I think, which will, has to be passable for I'm not aware of anything that I've ever used to, other than pervious pavement, asphalt, which is something that, the town asked us to, install concrete. Pervious pavement works for a very short time unless it's maintained a couple times a year. It stops working almost immediately.
Right, it has to be vacuumed or something.
Yeah, it's got to be cleaned out every season. Yeah.
Right, but we've seen other projects where there's mesh. There's a mesh that fills in, it becomes, with moss or whatever, and it becomes a relatively smooth surface, but it does allow for the movement of water.
I don't think that's ADA compliant. Has to be a solid surface.
Okay.
Jessica, did I ask you?
Not yet.
Yes, you did, but I don't have any questions.
Okay. Now, Paula Jean, you and I are going to compete for, I want more trees. Your turn.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm certainly in favor of more areas being ADA compliant. So don't get me wrong here, but I'm picturing this project as like a little patch of hot, dead, barren, lifeless inner city with increased heat, sun beating down on the concrete here in a place onset where we want this to be more of a show place. It's showing the beauty of Wareham, the ocean. We get so many people there in the summer, and it's just sounding like an ugly patch of a city to me. I was going to bring up the pervious versus the impervious materials. In this day and age, there's got to be something better than concrete cement that would be still fine and ADA compliant, over which a wheelchair can be pushed, or a person with other assistive devices would not be impeded in any way. And I'm wondering if anyone has made the effort to look into that and to come up with a better alternative. So that's one thing that bothers me about the project. I saw, when I was looking at the maps and the plans, there are quite a few trees, not really super large ones, but a lot of them that are being removed. It says dead or dying. For the record, everyone, I think, knows now that dead and dying trees can provide just as much habitat for wildlife as a live tree. It just depends. So that is going to just contribute to the barren, lifeless scene. The replacement trees, I saw you had one gray birch on there and then 6 choke cherries. I'd love to see a lot more trees come in there to make up for
Well,
that.
we can certainly talk to Dave and see, get the town's feedback, based on what you're asking for.
Yeah, you know what, I think you get what I'm saying. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
here's this beautiful, here's the ocean, oh, it's onset, people coming in the summer, eat their ice cream cone, drink their beer, walk around, and it's like a patch of,
Concrete.
what I love to hate.
Yeah.
Yeah, a dead area. And I don't think just to be compliant with ADA and make it new and make it nice means we have to have that kind of lack of aesthetics and that kind of flavor scene. Thank you.
All right, you ready?
I had one more follow-up question.
Okay.
The trees that you've picked out, is there a terminal height for those trees, those species of trees?
I think the chokeberry is more of a bush. I think that probably gets like 6 or 8 feet high, and I think the birch only goes to like 30 feet. I think these are we picked species that were DEP recommends for like coastal areas.
Well, the only reason I bring it up is because we've had issues in that very area with people doing landscaping in the middle of the night to preserve their views. And it would be wonderful if whatever was used to revegetate that area was not subject. I mean, there's no way we're going to catch these people unless we install cameras everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So not obstructing views would be a good idea, although it would be nice to have a variety of species instead of just 2 species replanting. Will still be some oaks there, is that right?
I'm not sure there's a variety of species out there now.
Yes, I believe we're preserving some of the oaks. We do call out, I think, a couple that we are keeping in place.
I mean, you can see the tree symbols on, on these drawings. You can, I mean, so for example, on that top panel, there's, more than a dozen trees there, and we're, removing 2, and that's where we're replacing 1. It's not like we're, the intent is not to clear cut. It's only to take down what was, actually, I think 2, and a couple stumps that we're taking out as well as part of this project, trees that have apparently been taken down in the past.
Is there any provision for benches in this plan?
There aren't, we are providing, there are a few locations of benches at the southern end of the project that we're providing actually sidewalk and, access to, where right now they're just basically, in grassed areas.
There is a moratorium on benches along Onset by the Select Board. So that's why no more benches for a while.
Well, it's the only benches are from Shell Point toward the pier, isn't that right?
Yeah.
But there are
No,
more, there are some in this
There's a
area.
few benches on this site,
Why is
like
that?
basically in the middle of the top
Overloaded.
panel, in between the 2 staircases.
For views.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, there are benches just before Shell Point in the wider, broader land
Yes.
before
Yes.
there's trees on the banking.
Okay.
All right. Now, West Boulevard is one way, correct?
Yes.
And parking is allowed only on one side?
I'm unaware of what parking regulations.
I have
the
no
town
idea
has.
what you're going to do with all those people who have been parking off the road on the dirt that will now become a paved sidewalk. How are those homeowners have been parking there, and I don't even see a space. I'm looking at Onset Ave going toward Shell Point. I don't see any cuts for driveways that allow them to park other than just off the road.
Well,
I know
where
parking has
are you-
nothing
where are
to
you-
do with conservation, but I'm looking for cuts to allow
Where are you
for.
specifically talking about? Because on this drawing here, there is no driveway on.
No, I'm starting at Onset Ave. Please go to
Okay, I'm
C102.
Yeah, what you'll see there is okay, so in front of the very top right, there's a building there that has a gravel driveway.
Not
So the
them.
little honeycomb pattern is, that's where the driveway is. So there's going to be a cut there where the sidewalk's going to dive down to just an inch above the road edge, and then go back. Anywhere there, you can see on the other side of the street, there's a paver, or actually, there's pavers being replaced. So that will be, we don't specifically show the aprons in the sidewalk themselves because we just, the contractor's instructed where they go. So, and then to the right, to the left, there's like a gray area where that one's a paved apron. So we'll be, doing a cut back there. So we've accounted for all of the driveways that, exist now, to give people the ability to, access the parking areas that they do now. And I believe the town is actually, like, a lot of this stuff will be field fit to match the town and the homeowners' expectations. But I believe on that parcel on the top left, I think they're going to provide an apron there because they have nothing right now, I believe. So
Correct.
they'll be, driveways and access for homeowners is being accounted for.
All right. And the idea of taking trees down and only giving us one tree and some bushes, I'm not too pleased with that. Now, if we move down to C101, there are some, it starts to slope away from the road. Sorry, I'm looking at my pictures. If I come across 9th Street, that's where the existing sidewalk ends on the south side.
Correct.
And you're going to be continuing up on the north side, putting in curb cuts where there are driveways that people have identified or parking.
Yes.
As I get closer to, how am I going to be getting around all of the telephone poles if I'm going to be ADA compliant?
Well, you can see, I believe there's a location, and there's also, we're doing at a hydrant if you, like, basically right where, I don't know how to describe this. In between 8th and 9th Street, you'll see the sidewalk bumps out a little bit.
I see that one bump, yes.
Right, we need to provide a minimum of 32. I always go 36 inches, so that accounts for the additional, so it'll be 36 inches from the back of the pole to the edge of the sidewalk, and that meets ADA requirements. And you'll see there's a few areas where that happens along the length of the project.
All right. As we move along from C101 up to 6th Street, there's no sidewalk across 6th Street to Sunset Island. Was that done on purpose? Because you have sidewalks going from 5th and 4th and 7th and 8th.
The crosswalk? You're talking about the crosswalk?
There's no, if you take a look, there's no crosswalk from 6th Street across West Boulevard. It only connects the sidewalk that's being built on the north side. And I see crosswalks from
You're
5th
right.
and 4th.
Yeah, we should have one there.
Yeah.
And if I
So we can add that.
If I recall, this is about the only place you're going to plant a tree is in this corner. Like Scott said, I'm very concerned. I've received more than one picture of somebody on West Boulevard walking across the street and trimming the lower branches on the Oak Street that was in his way. And I don't know how to stop that, but I do want more trees. And I know the issue is that if I put in more trees, then someone's going to say you're ruining my vista, et cetera, but there has to be
Beach plums, something low.
something that gives us some green, and the poor critters have something other than fields, plain. Okay, what else? I'm sorry, I'm going through my notes.
Well, while you're going through
So
your
are
notes,
you asking us to install more trees than we're taking down, or just meet what we're taking down?
Well, I'd like to have a 2-to-1 ratio. You take a tree down, I want 2 to replace it. I'm not sure the type of tree.
I mean, again, I can talk to Dave and Derek about, what, your requests. I don't see why they would have an issue with it, but, we can bring it up to them.
Okay. Now, if I look across from 4th Street, I think it tells me it's pretty slopey. There's a heavy slope from
There is.
going down. How are you going to build it up so it stays level for ADA compliant?
Well, you can see there, I don't know if she can zoom in, there is proposed grading along all of this. And the grading runs down, you probably can't zoom in. It runs down to basically the limits of the filter sock there. So we're building up and going down at like a 4-to-1 slope, I believe.
So you will
after we
be,
get to the-
you will be adding soil in order to make the sidewalk level.
Yes, and that would be the most extreme location. In most cases, it's just going to be grading, a foot behind the sidewalk. But that is the extreme case because it does dive down there quite significantly.
All right.
what is the total area of the proposed sidewalk?
Probably, we probably have it, I think it's probably about 10,000 square feet. It's we're 2,675 feet of sidewalk times a 4.5 foot wide width. So probably about, 10,000 or so.
Jeez.
10 or 11 maybe.
You done any calculations then for, heavy rain then? Because this is, right now, it's grass and sand and so on, and is there any calculation for how much runoff then that there would be for this additional 11?
We did not do any hydraulics or hydrology on this now. It'll be sloped to the road. So like, it'll go into the towns, whatever is generated that doesn't, infiltrate into the ground will go into the town's stormwater system, which does discharge right out there to the bay.
When you remove the dead trees, are you also getting rid of the stumps?
Yes.
So the stumps that are there now will be removed?
Yes.
Removed or ground?
We grub them so we require them to take them out to about 18 inches depth.
So you're going to be disturbing a lot more soil by removing or 18 inches down the existing
But they'll,
trunks.
it's possible they will, but they will probably use a grinder, so it'll just be an isolated, they're just gonna bury the grinder right at the stump.
So the root system stays in place?
The roots will stay there, correct. Yeah.
For a little bit until they start to rot away, but most of the trees that are coming down are dead or dying hardwood, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
I think, I guess there's a couple pitch pine in there too, but I think most of that are dead and dying hardwood. And I know the issue is that you've got to be able to give the homeowners their vista. All right, now, sorry, wait a second. So you've answered the issue about the sloping down. You're going to build it up where necessary in order to keep it level. If I come down to C100, you're going to move in from the road in order to save more trees off of 2nd Street, right?
Yes.
And there is curbing on 2nd Street on the south side.
Yes.
And one of them is they're both pretty bad. Would you be attempting to,
The curbing's getting replaced with granite the whole length of the road.
even though it doesn't seem to say it on the plan C100?
Well, it kind of implies that the granite curb is there, based on, I thought I had a note on there. I'm having a really hard time seeing the screen.
Because right now,
But the intent is, and the plans do indicate, on the specifications, to replace remove the existing curb, the full length of the road, even where there's not, even where the sidewalk is going to be off with the snow shelf.
in that corner, I believe there is a fire hydrant, correct? On
Which
2nd
corner is
Street?
this?
And right now, the drainage is impossible to work on, but I don't see any attempt here to do a drainage correction in that location.
At 2nd Street?
Is it 2nd or 1st? It's 2nd, I think. There's a fire hydrant. And if I stood in that fire hydrant, I would be in 18 inches of water.
I think I see I can't really see. At 2nd, we're installing a bunch of dry wells. You can see the 4 dry wells between 2nd and 3rd. There is a structure, there is a catch basin actually at Longwood. I don't know if that's the one you're speaking of, and then we're actually replacing that one.
Okay, yes, it's Longwood that I had an issue. Was it Longwood? After a while, sorry. Been a while since I've been down there. I just took pictures and got a big puddle. I like the idea that you were taking the sidewalk away from the street in order to save some hardwoods at the end of 2nd Street.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see a crosswalk going from 2nd Street across West Boulevard to the land on the coastal bank. You have it on Third and First, but not Second. You have it on Longwood and Central.
We do. We can add that there. That's just an oversight.
I'm sorry, but I think I've come out of questions. I'm sure I've got more, but it was a long time since I've been down that site. Of course, we're not going to visit now because it's covered in snow.
Yeah. I bet.
How long before the dry wells fill so that they're no longer effective?
Each one will handle about 1,000 gallons. It's very, we're presuming it's very sandy soil. We're just, we didn't do any kind, like I said, we didn't do any hydrology or hydraulics. But we did install them at the low points where right now the water just sits.
Right,
So we will capture, those will capture about 4,000 gallons and will, infiltrate into the ground and be able to accept more.
Let me clarify my question. How long before they fill with sand so they're no longer effective?
That's a maintenance thing. They, they just pop the covers and they can be vacuumed out and included in the town's maintenance program.
I guess I'd like to see how they plan to keep these clear of sand. Because every third year they're supposed to clean out a stormwater drain? Is that part of the state's requirement? But
I'm not sure what their requirements are. We recommend doing them every spring, but most municipalities don't have the manpower or the budget to do that.
nope. It becomes useless if it fills up with sand after a winter of salting
Right,
and
and
sanding.
we're just there is, like I said, there's nothing there now. There's curbing there. The water just sits, so we're just trying to improve the situation as best we can while we're here doing work.
I'm sure I have more, but not tonight. Anybody else have any additional questions? Anybody online or in the audience would like to question the project? Christine, you have someone with your hand raised. Christine first, and then you let that person in, please, John. Okay. Christine, your comments?
I did see that this was sent out to NHESP, but I don't think that I've received anything from them about this project just yet, since part of it's in the priority and estimated habitat.
Yes, we did submit to NHESP. We have not heard back from them at this time.
All right.
Okay, who's online?
Hi, my name is Amanda Cobb, and I'm the owner of 6 West Boulevard. Did I hear mention that residents were being sent notices of this project? Because I don't believe we've received any notice.
You would have, if work is occurring on your property, we did send notice to property owners, and then you would have received the abutter notification as well.
I have not received anything, and apparently
You're on the south side of, if we go to sheet C102, I believe, there's existing sidewalk in front of your house, I presume?
yes, but the pink hatched area is a driveway, and
Yes.
on the bigger picture that I can't see here, it says, you're going to dig it up and replace it, essentially. Have received no such notice.
Well, in that location, we're fairly confident that because there's a lot of monumentation on that side of the road, that we're confident with the property line there, and so the sidewalk will be on town property there. So I don't think we had an obligation since it was not on town property.
Well, still
But
would be.
excuse me, they're the
notice.
butter of the work. Shouldn't they be notified?
No, yeah, that is correct. You would have been on our abutters list. If you are not, I apologize, but I believe that we received an abutters list from the town assessor with all properties within the distance required by the commission. I believe they were sent certified, so they may have required signatures to receive the envelope. If you were not home to sign for it, it would have been kicked back to us. I can confirm if you were.
That would be great, because we have not received anything certified or otherwise.
Our apologies. I will.
And it's, you know, there's no mail delivery in Onset, so we would receive a notice, have to go to the post office and sign for it there, and that has not occurred.
Well, because Amanda Cobb is on your plan as the homeowner of number 6.
Correct.
Well, mail delivery in Onset is a challenge because it's all to a P.O. box.
We know.
Oh, yeah.
If you can, Sandy, if you can fix that, you get a prize.
I'm not trying. It's
Okay.
it's like trying to get rid of the water departments. It's not happening. Okay.
Okay.
So I would like to continue. I need to go back and review it another time because it's been a while since, when was this, January 21st? Anybody else online, John?
All right. Take it up.
Okay.
Hello,
Yes, please identify yourself.
Tom Hannon, and we live on 62 West Boulevard. And our question is, are you doing sidewalks on both sides of the street where we are? We're on the corner of 62 and West, or are you just doing them on the beach side?
Beach side.
Okay.
We're doing both sides. Where there's sidewalk now on the non-beach side, we're replacing it, but that's only between like Onset and 9th. It'll be on the beach side for the entire way to Shell Point.
And are you putting in, this is Linda Hannon, wife of Tom Hannon. Are you guys putting in some kind of access down to the beach there? Because there's a path right now, I know. But that area I know gets a lot of erosion.
Where is this specifically?
Right across from the entrance to Second Ave.
Okay,
That's where you're doing the plantings to try to reduce the traffic going across the dunes there, correct?
That's right. You're right. And the town asked us, if you look, we have the plantings there, like directly across from Second Avenue, which the town asked us to do something there. And we're kind of providing just to the left of that, kind of a ramp off, to kind of direct people to, the town asked us to do something right there to kind of, this is where you go to the beach here, not anywhere you want to. So that's kind of how they're addressing that.
Okay, so that's great. So there's going to be some kind of a ramp for people to go down there, so it's not kind of the mess it is right now.
Yeah.
And did you guys, I'm assuming you did because I know you guys are super smart. I know there's a drainage access point over there that at least once since we've lived here, the erosion from the tides is completely like opened, unburied it. So it was just kind of freestanding and they had to come back and rebuild the whole bank there. Have you guys thought about this is an opportunity to kind of reinforce that area?
I know there's a location, I'm trying to, it's so small on my screen.
Yeah.
There's a location where there's like some sanitary cleanouts in there's like 2 of them or 3 of them in a location. And yeah, the sidewalk is going to help with, any erosion that was coming off the road, popping the curb. I wish I could remember where that was. I know there was sanitary cleanouts that lead to the sewer that runs along the beach. And I know we were kind of addressing those. They might actually even be in the sidewalk, the proposed sidewalk at this point.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Anybody
guys.
else? Anybody else online? So I believe the questions is, Josh, did you want to comment?
Yeah, can I speak to the project a little bit?
Yes, please.
I wasn't planning on speaking to any project tonight, but since I'm here, might as well. I really only needed access to the town's drive. But, so, Thank you. Weston and Sampson, I'm going to actually steal your screen here.
Go ahead.
So, Dave Bernard and Derek Sullivan and myself all went out and started to walk this project. It was, I want to say, mid-fall, maybe October or November. And as you can imagine, when 3 town vehicles pull up and park and get out, and the people, the residents there obviously had questions of what we were doing and why we were all walking the project length. And sorry, just want to make sure I'm sharing.
Yes, I came across at least 3 dog walkers that asked me why I was there.
Yeah, I will say onset is nosy, maybe, but that's okay, because when you have a project like this, you want the public to know as much as they can. So, okay, as we're looking at my screen here, we started at the beginning of Shell Point, and to one of Paula Jean's concerns about, the heat island effect and contiguous concrete, a lot of our plan for this was to actually kind of break that up where possible. So when you're looking at, when we get to West Central Ave and we cut in, it adds a little bit extra concrete, but it allows for these vegetated islands to exist. It had the benefit of getting people away from the road. It's a little bit safer. And especially where we had some access points like the stairs here and some trees that already exist. And there are things like telephone poles that it's nice to get away from as well. But, as we started to continue walking down, we brought it back out to the road where elevation seemed a little too steep. We didn't want people getting close to them. But where we could keep it to the road and where we could save some trees like this, we really tried to do that. And as we continued walking down the corridor, here's an example of one of the poles where we had to kick the sidewalk out a little bit to keep that ADA compliance with. But when you get to some areas like this, we actually made it possible for access to existing benches to be obtained. So we kept going down. Again, here's one of those ADA bump outs. Here's another one of the access points that's going to be reconstructed. The benefit of this is, like they said, the sidewalk will be sloped gently towards the road to catch any runoff, to put it into our stormwater maintenance that we already have existing on West Boulevard. And speaking to the maintenance of those, every year the DPW has a lofty goal of trying to clean as much out as they can. I think we're somewhere in the neighborhood of 4,500 catch basins in town, and they do a pretty good job when they're able to getting to as many of them as they can. And we have a maintenance record to show all the ones that we've done in a given year. So, it is part of the town's maintenance to eventually get to these. And I would say if it was a 3-year schedule, they would probably be cleaned out every 3 years, potentially sooner too. So as we kept going down, we made access for the benches. We got off of the road where we could to give people, a little bit of a vista where it was possible. The area of plantings, Weston and Sampson did a great job. That's exactly what we were trying to do. We were trying to create what was an open invitation to access the beach, to really narrow it down and get one specific access point. And then as we started to get past Sunset, here we go. As we started to get into the area of Sunset, we noticed a couple of the stumps and the trees that were there, proposed to replace them. And then as we started to get into the section of West Boulevard, where there are actually homeowners on the same side as the sidewalk, excuse me. Like you'll see this one here. We proposed the sidewalk and the homeowner has a cobblestone apron. And what we actually talked to this person about was, we would pull up the cobble that they had and just reinstall it a little bit further into their driveway. I want to say if we passed 12 houses going down West Boulevard, we talked to 8 homeowners on our way through. it really was, people were that concerned with why we were walking out there. And then, as you had mentioned, you didn't see much in terms of driveway entrances on towards the end of West Boulevard. We actually got to speak to, I think it was the last two homeowners on West Boulevard, where they have a number of, I think there's two entrances into this property, and I think it's cut off into C101, but there's two entrances into that property where we actually came up with an idea where they could limit the number of entrances they had, with us benefiting them during the construction. So from the residents that we did interact with, it was really a lot of positivity. I think the major goal of this project is really trying to start to tie this end of Onset into the Bayview Park, and as you know, we just got some grant funding to redo the band shell. So we're really just trying to create more of an envelope for these accessible, I want to say areas, but really parks in Onset. When we finish West Boulevard, there's a sidewalk that mostly goes down, which will potentially connect to Lopes Field. So really, we've built a new playground at Lopes. We're going to be renovating West Boulevard to get you to Bayview, and then from Bayview, you're going to be able to get over to the band shell. So really, this is a lot of investment to kind of tie all of Onset back in together. On top of all this, we have an additional project, which is interior to Onset, to address some of the crosswalk issues, kind of slow some traffic down and create some islands on some of these big crossings that we have. So just a little bit of a different perspective that you guys may not have seen yet for the project. But
Josh, you're probably also aware that this road is also under consideration for the the bike path stretching from Providence to Provincetown, that this would be on that same route. Would that affect was that considered for this plan, or would it change this plan at all?
So it probably wouldn't change this plan at all. The South Coast Bikeway Alliance, I've actually had a number of discussions with them right now about what their vision looks like when you get into Onset. One of our biggest concerns about Onset is when you get into Onset, you're coming past the post office, and you just get narrowed down immensely, and you got that curve at Mark Anthony's. It's really a concerning area for the Bikeway Alliance, and myself, to be honest. So we've tried to come up with a few ways to get bicyclists away from that intersection. One of the considerations was West Boulevard, and then another consideration was having them go, it was like up Camp and, hold on.
Is it down like
On
10th
North
Street or
Boulevard?
something?
Yeah, it was like, you get to Lopes and you come up,
I think it's like 10th or 11th
you come
Street.
up, yeah, you come up Camp and then you kind of cut over to Main. Understanding that there might be something to do. It was come up Camp. It might have been go all the way to North and then up Main, but to get to your answer, no, it probably wouldn't affect this project at all. Sorry, long-winded answer for a no.
So no bike, what do you call it, bike racks are part of this plan?
Not right now.
But you have islands. You have like vegetated islands.
But that's not part of this.
No, there
Sidewalk.
are no bike racks proposed. If there's some extra funds left over from the band shell project, it might be worth getting some bike racks over there. But yeah, your project you're looking at now, there are no bike racks proposed.
Okay. I believe what we have is a request for more vegetation. Right, is there anything else that we would ask for a continuance on?
Continue to explore something that's more pervious than the old school cement. especially because we're looking at 11,000 square feet.
I do just have one question. You said there's vegetated islands in certain parts of this because you were breaking them up?
I think he was mentioning the
No.
bigger project.
No, what I was mentioning is like where the sidewalk comes off of, where it's not directly adjacent to the street. I was just saying that that leaves an area of vegetation, like whether it be grass or the trees that are there. That's what I meant by vegetated islands. It breaks up the contiguous concrete or pavement street and then sidewalk. There are some sections that remain like a, I'll say vegetated island, but it's probably grass or some trees or shrubs.
Up by Shell Point, that area close to Shell Point.
And by Sunset
the-
Island and,
Oh, yeah, there's one in that corner.
yeah, just anywhere where the sidewalk stopped being connected to the road and kind of got off the road.
So Sunset is where you'll plant your one tree.
Okay, I was wondering about it because if there are vegetated spaces where shrubs or, you know, any sort of native plants can be planted along the way here, maybe it would be a good idea, since you guys want more variety, to plant trees that you could, or trees or shrubs or plants that you could like forage from, maybe?
Yes, yes, please.
Because it's kind of a long path, you know, and I'm sure people are going to be using it to do recreational walking or like biking or something. So maybe it would be a good idea to have some edible plants like beach plum or low bush blueberries so that
Be wonderful.
people who are walking could grab like a little snack on the way.
I've been thinking all along the last few years here, since coming to Wareham, how it would be so wonderful if Wareham's thinking became advanced enough that they said, hey, let's turn Wareham into one of these food forest towns. Never mind putting it on the map in the most positive possible way, but every time we have one of these opportunities, I think, oh, if only. That would be fabulous.
Yeah, I mean, if we have enough vegetated areas, maybe it could be considered.
Yeah.
Or at least for the wildlife, even if people can go to the supermarket. It'd be nice if wildlife had a,
Well, we have people who can't get to the supermarket except they want money for their stuff, so there's a problem.
There has to be consideration, because not that long ago, this area was overwhelmed with skunk. So we have to be careful as to what we plant, as to what we invite for critters. I know that you're not, but it was just,
I mean,
I remember they're under my house all over the place.
well, what's their natural predator? We need more of them. I'll tell
Yep.
you, poodles will rip a skunk into
Well, I
pieces in
mean,
a heartbeat.
All right, so we're going to, continuing to the 18th.
is that enough time?
Well, I'll ask Weston and Sampson's staff. We're looking for we are looking for additional vegetation, and is there an alternative to concrete to be ADA compliant and to survive a storm,
Right, we have-
a hurricane?
And to be pervious.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can definitely look into the ADA, a surface that may be compliant. I don't know how, it's not going to be cheaper than concrete, so I don't know how that would fit into the town's budget. That would be one concern I'd have now.
Well,
And I'm unclear on the planting issue. Are we required to do more plantings? Are we looking? I mean, is it going to be Derek and Dave's decision? I mean, I'm not getting a kind of a clear understanding of what the anticipation.
Conservation Commission would request, do you have at least a 2-to-1 planting of trees for the ones that are being removed?
And we're talking about budget, you're putting granite curbs in.
Yeah, well, fancy curbs.
So I'm not sure why that would be.
A lot of the granite curbs that we have are reclaimed, reused. They'll pull them out, they'll reset them. A lot of them already exist. And then I know we have a stockpile of reusable granite curbs that we have. I don't know how much in terms of purchasing we're doing for granite curbs.
Yeah, well, that
But-
sweetens it a bit. But, you know,
Yeah.
sometimes you have to pay to have something better, that's better in the long haul and better for everyone.
All right. Yes. All right, please let the person in. Gotta say to 7:45. Okay. Please identify yourself
Yes, I'm Jane DeVoe, and I live at 15 West Boulevard.
and your comments, please.
My comment is probably not in the purview of this commission, but we have a lot of issues with people not realizing that West Boulevard is a one-way street. There is no signage except at the bottom of where the number streets let out that indicate that West Boulevard is one way. So many of us would kind of like that addressed.
Thank you for your comment. I would pass it on to the road commissioners, being the select board, that would like to have an additional one-way streets for everything that comes into West Boulevard. They know they can only turn left, no rights.
That would be great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anything else? If not,
Move to close the hearing?
no,
No, move to continue the hearing
until
until the
February 18th.
18th of February.
I have a motion. I heard a second. All in favor? Jessica?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Paula Jean? Michael?
Aye.
Kwame?
Yes.
Sandy? Yes, we're continuing until the 18th to look for some alternative to concrete ADA compliant sidewalks and additional trees and shrubs along the sidewalk. That's it. Thank you.
Thank
The
you.
team from Weston and Sampson, thank you. We are continued. Is there anybody here that has come in for the 66 Blackmore Pond Road? We tabled it. I'd like to untable it and continue.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. All in favor, Jessica?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Paula Jean? Kwame?
Yes.
Michael? Sandy? Yes. So we are now going to, it's been untabled and continued until 2:18. I just want to get it out of the way and not forget about it. All right, then we have a next hearing, please. Oh, that's it. We're now, that's no more new hearings, right? We're continued until 2:18. Our continued notice of intent. We have Safe Harbor has been continued until 2:18. 7 Burgess Point continued until 3:18. Town of Wareham Minot and Narrows for the bike path, continued in 3:18. The next hearing we have is Turner at 8 Johnson Street.
We're waiting for DEP number.
Wait. Get my paperwork here. Burgess Point.
I think at this point, it's probably going to be something that either may get denied or maybe withdrawn, because as far as I know, there still hasn't been anything sent to the NHESP.
Okay, then the Virginia Green Turner, honestly, it's been on our agenda since August 20th. I make a motion that we deny the project.
Second.
All right.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, Jessica?
Aye.
Chair, may I?
Yes,
Before you move on?
sorry.
Just clarify why you're denying it. It's an incomplete application. It hasn't received a file number. Just indicate why you're denying it.
There has been nobody has come before us to present the project. Is that a reason for denying? It's been August 20th and no activity.
I would say rely on the fact that there's no DEP file number or the fact that it's
Okay.
an incomplete application.
We are denying it because there's been no DEP filing.
Yeah, this is why we need to get those rules and regulations and have a limit on how many times it could be continued.
I'm working on them.
Okay.
So we had that motion to deny because of no DEP filing. I heard a second. Jessica? Scott?
Aye.
Paula
Aye.
Jean? Michael?
Aye.
Kwame?
Yes.
Sandy? Yes. We are denied. I just looked at August 20th. It's been around forever and nothing's done. Okay. The next one was, we have Riverhawk.
This one you guys essentially already talked about and just wanted to go back out to see the site. At this point, it's more than likely covered in snow. But there wasn't really too much about it.
But you were going to arrange for a time with the engineering firm for us to go out there.
I was trying, but I haven't gotten anything from the engineer.
Move to continue until February 18.
Second?
All in favor of Jessica?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Paula Jean?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Kwame?
Yes.
Sandy, yes, we're continued until 18.
I probably should have made the motion to continue until the snow was gone.
Yeah, until spring.
Actually,
Yeah.
that makes
You should.
Untable
Do it
that.
now.
No, it's okay. We'll vote again to continue on the 18th, I'm sure.
Yeah.
May 1st.
Okey dokey, next one is Zero Pierce View. Zero Pierce View. Is there anybody here for this project? All right, please let them in. Next is 17. Okay. Who's online?
Good evening, William Connolly, Zenith Consulting Engineers.
Okay. Where were we here? We were looking for an estimate for a bond?
Yes, I believe that was the only outstanding item. So we came up with some numbers. We worked with Allen and Major and came up with some figures which everyone feels comfortable with. I believe they sent out a letter on January 22nd, kind of giving their blessing. So I think that's about it at this point.
All right. So we're looking at approving the project with a standard order of conditions with a bond of $270,500 for 20 years? I know, someone talked to me, how does this work? I don't know. If we say there's a bond,
So the commission requested that there be a bond put in place. Zenith Consulting gave you an estimate of what they believe the price should be. Phil Cadero of Allen and Majors reviewed it. I think he added an escalator to it. And then we sent that back to you guys for review. Now what you'll do is, if the applicant and the commission agree that the bond amount is satisfactory, you can approve the project with a condition stating that the proof of the bond shall be submitted to the Conservation Department before any work begins.
And is there a stipulation in the order that the maintenance work is done on an annual basis or whatever the,
You would condition that.
okay.
then who watches over that?
So
Well, they have to
normally,
We can ask for a report.
yeah, you would do an annual report.
Anything else? Christine, your comments?
I don't have any other comments.
All right. Anybody online or in the audience like to speak to this project? Yes. Please come forward and identify yourself.
How are we doing? John Christopolsky. I'm a butter to this development.
Okay, thank you. You were here last time.
Yes.
Yes, I was. So I'm just following up on what they said. The HOA is the big thing, and you guys needed to have that to be approved. And just this 270,000, does that cover the catch basins of the cleaning? Does it do the plowing of the roads? We'd mentioned this before, and just making sure everything's going to be covered.
No, it says,
Sorry if I may.
so, operation and maintenance of a proposed stormwater system for the residential subdivision. Is that it?
So, yeah, it will cover
William?
stormwater maintenance, but it won't cover plowing.
No.
Right, so
Yeah,
that's what I
it's gonna
mean,
be
like the
through the
planning board, you
HOA.
mentioned that they could combine the two maybe. So I'm just looking to see what it is to get the you guys needed a bond, and then the planning board also requested.
That's, yeah.
The planning board will establish the HOA requirement.
On taking care of the road and the plowing, and this is just for the storm drainage.
That's correct.
All right. And then the other thing with the trees being marked out there, what trees were being removed? We spoke about that at the last meeting. None of the property was marked out there road-wise, or what trees were being saved.
Yeah, so we staked out the entire limit of work within the buffer zone, as well as the roadway and cul-de-sac.
Right,
I
but
think
like if the two sidewalks are going in, that's still up in the air unless that was done.
So that wouldn't actually be covered under the Conservation Commission, because
Planning board.
I think, are you right? If I'm entering the subdivision,
My
you're on
brother's
the
property
left.
is right there.
On the left?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
the
yeah,
one
yeah.
adjacent to him.
Okay, yeah, so that section of the project is out of the jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission, so that would be handled with the planning board.
All right, that's it. Then I'll see the planning board and stuff.
Anything else, John?
Nope, that's it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. So if I just summarize, standard order of conditions with the proposed bond, we get acknowledgement that the bond has been posted before work can be done. We require an annual report regarding the status of the stormwater system maintenance. Is there anything else that I'm missing?
And that report would be in perpetuity? Which
20
means it-
years, 20 years.
Then what?
No, I would say in perpetuity.
No, I think we've got a bond here for 20 years,
I know, but the report
should
would go
renew
in
it.
until the sun swallows the earth.
until the project, until the property is, no,
You can do it. Annual report in perpetuity.
until the houses are removed from the property.
Yeah, until it is no more.
And, okay, put,
Restore all the
perpetuity.
trees replanted.
Are these reports kind of accessible for people that need it?
it would, be the report will be submitted to the Conservation Commission office.
Okay.
Anything else?
With the assumption that if the system is not maintained, then there would be some enforcement order placed on the homeowners association. Is that right? Is that how it would?
The bond gives the town the ability to draw from the bond and then do the work ourselves to ensure that it gets done.
Right, but presumably the town would, if the maintenance is not done, the town would first.
Yeah, we would acknowledge that they're out of compliance with the order of conditions. And then if they fail to do it after some, maybe multiple notices, we could draw from the bond and then complete the work ourselves. In all likelihood, the way that I've seen most of these HOA things go, it'd probably be a member of the HOA complaining that the HOA hasn't done anything. It would be internal conflict before it ever gets to the town. But the bond gives us that ability.
All right. Someone would like to summarize the order of conditions clearly, because I mumbled. Who wants to take a shot at our standard order of conditions plus?
Standard order of conditions plus having the bond in place and proof of it being shown to the Conservation Commission before work starts, with an annual maintenance report submitted for the stormwater system in perpetuity.
So moved.
No, submitted to conservation.
Yeah.
Yes, submitted to
Yeah,
conservation.
she said that.
Yeah.
I missed that one.
Second.
I have a motion and second. All in favor, Jessica?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Paula Jean?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Kwame?
Yes.
Sandy, aye. You got your project, you know you have some deliverables.
All right. Thank you all for your time. Have a nice night.
Thank you.
You too.
The next one is 17 Atlantic Ave. Is there anybody here representing that project? Okay, thank you. Let them in, please. And you're going to say 8 o'clock finally. Okay, please identify yourself.
For the record, Zachary Basinski, professional engineer, Bracken Engineering. So again, this is a continuance. We were here a few weeks ago. At that time, Commission had some requests. We have an updated plan that was submitted to you guys. Just to go over those requests. Project, just before, we did go in front of the Board of Health last week and did receive approval. Out of that meeting, the Board of Health had asked us to relocate some vents and blower units for the septic system away from the neighbor's lot line. So we moved that to the center of the lot, just on the other side of the driveway. So again, just to recap, this is a tear-down rebuild of an existing structure. House was built in 1925. We're looking to install a new coastal resilient structure. Improve the situation out here by installing an on-site driveway. If you remember, the property is elevated up on a knoll off of Atlantic Ave, and there's no parking on the lot. So the applicants are proposing to demo the existing house, install a new driveway, a new nitrogen reduction septic system on the property. There was some questions about preserving some of the trees on site. So in the revised plan, we are proposing now to maintain a 20-inch oak on the property. There are 3 trees proposed to come out. We're replacing them with 3 trees on the lot. There was a question about some eastern red cedars in the north edge of the plan. Those have to come out to install a water line. For the new house, we are proposing to replant new cedars back there to offset those cedars that would be removed for the water line install. Commission at the time also asked us to downsize the house, which we have. We've pulled the structure back in, so the proposed structure falls within the limits of existing structure on the lot. We still are asking for an exception. I believe the commission can grant an exception based under section 17C1C of the bylaw. Again, this is being requested because of the lot shape, the topography of the lot. Again, this structure was created prior to the local bylaw being put into place. And we believe the exception can be granted because the overall benefit of the proposed project is an improvement to the environment. So again, just to recap, we do have a new coastal structure on the lot. We have a reduction in nitrogen loading. The proposed deck that would wrap around the house is being installed because of the elevation that's required to get a new coastal structure. This would now allow us to have a demarcated area of structure on the lot. Underneath the deck, we can install what we talked about last time, a stone trap area, which would increase recharge and reduce runoff that would leave the site and head down to the salt marsh down below. So further protecting and enhancing the protection of the budding salt marsh. Also with that, with the exceptions, let's just see right here. Oh, again, the reduction or the proposed deck would also reduce lawn area on the lot. So that would also reduce nitrogen loading associated with the lawn, the existing historic lawn on the property. So overall, we believe that the proposed project is an improvement. It protects the abutting resource areas. And the last question was in regards to the sonotubes or the deck construction and the footings. We had talked about installing diamond pier systems. So I brought a picture of what one of those systems looks like. I'm going to pass that up to you, Madam Chair.
Yes, please. You can give it to, start with Kwame.
Thank you.
So again, just to recap, that type of system is a no-dig system. It's a concrete block that sits down. It meets the building code requirements by having the anchor pins that are ramjacked through the concrete and then into the ground. So it meets the building code requirements and limits disturbance, so further protecting the ground and limiting any sediment going off-site. So with that, I believe we've met the performance standards and the request of the commission, and I'll turn it over for questions.
Jessica?
No questions at this time.
Scott?
My recollection was that the request for the redesign would be to fit it to the original footprint.
Again, I can note Joe was there with us this talk about the architecturals. Again, we had reviewed the balancing of the structure and the massing of the structure. Joe, do you want to respond to that?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, Joe Fournier, JFF Design Architects in Waltham, Mass. Let me just share my screen real quick. So, Mr. Sobey, just in response to your question last time we met, we were able to rebalance this section, this part of the home, and actually pull this back significantly. What we did find, however, is in doing so, if we pull this back the additional 2 feet, we would, it actually makes this space relatively unusable. So we're seeking an acceptance in this particular case, just this small 2 foot by not even 12 foot long section. So 24 square feet additional coverage for the home. Again, really just to make the space usable inside. Were you able to hear me okay, everybody?
Yes, yep. Scott's thinking.
Yeah, you might want to come back to me, Madam Chair, with another round of questions.
Paula Jean, questions?
Okay. Well, my understanding is that you were going to come back and come up with a plan that would not exceed the original footprint, because it's in the 30-foot no-touch zone. It's pretty straightforward, no touch. And we're charged with the responsibility of enforcing that and protecting that zone. Reading through our bylaw under buffer zone restrictions, and where we may waive or reduce the no activity zone requirements, you have referred to it being either something that benefits the public or the environment. That would come under C, and it says, if in its judgment such a reduction is necessary to accommodate a project that will have an overall benefit to the public and/or the environment, such as a sewer expansion project or a wildlife enhancement project. I haven't seen either of those happening here. It's 30 feet, is 30 feet.
Yep, just to rebut, if you may. The 30-foot is if it was native. This is an area that was already disturbed. It already has work that was in prehistoric. So the project doesn't disturb anything else within the 30-foot. It's within the existing disturbed area. If you look at the 30-foot today, it's a natural lawn area. That's
I'm
there
just
today.
looking at what our responsibility is and reading it again and again to see how we could do this without violating the rules.
Well, I think
Couldn't you just shrink the house? Couldn't you just shrink the house down and we could say fine? You know?
Also, I don't think the 30-foot is only if there's native.
Mm-mm. It doesn't say that.
Yeah, but the exception for this here is the project can be, the 30-foot can be waived. The commission was concerned before about setting a precedence.
Right.
This is a case-specific situation on.
And if you listen to
what?
Paula Jean, she
I
told
just
you
read
why
the
it was
rule,
waived.
Why, why it would be waived, and
So-
it says, I don't see this as such as a sewer expansion project that would benefit the public.
Or a sidewalk.
Or a wildlife enhancement project. I don't see that this came to us as a wildlife enhancement project. I saw it as a raise and rebuild for people to have a nice place to live. But
But are those the only two exceptions that you've granted on for those two types of projects?
I don't feel that I could vote in favor of it.
Those would be the only two exceptions that this particular commission, this constituted commission would have approved. I don't think we've approved any of those exceptions.
No, no.
We do recognize that the nitrogen reduction is significant, but that would be,
Anyway.
whether you put a teepee there, it would still be, because you'd still have to have that, and had the Title V system and so on. So that's quite separate. I mean, that's a public benefit, but that's quite separate from the building and once again, we talk about the 30-foot 60-foot not activity zone, but really, we're talking about a 100-foot buffer zone. We recognize that there's a structure already in place. Okay. But to expand that structure then, in that 100-foot zone, particularly since all of that new structure is in the 30-foot no activity zone, would be beyond what I would consider acceptable.
But it's a pre-existing condition that was created prior to the regulations coming into place.
Not the new structure.
The land was not disturbed, just because it has a lawn on it, that's not considered disturbed. We have never, when we've had this condition, we have never considered the lawn an already pre-disturbed component of a plan.
Yeah, but we have an existing patio that already goes to the top of the bank right now. We're pulling it back. We're not increasing over the bank.
I don't remember seeing a patio. If I take a look at the years in the past, there's an existing deck. If I take a look at the existing conditions, I don't see a patio listed on the south side, southeast side of that existing condition.
So
I see an existing deck.
It's shown on the east side of the building, southeast side of the building.
Wait a minute, southeast, I see an existing deck.
And then we have the existing, in the site photos that were submitted prior to the notice of intent, the existing patio is already to the top of the bank that's there today. So this situation causes runoff to run over the bank and down the bank. So our deck and our structure and the replacement and everything, we have the ability to remove this, keep all the stormwater on site as part of the project, and all this exists within the 30-foot today.
But the existing deck that you're planning does not exist today.
No, that's the exception that we're requesting because of,
You want the deck to go all the way around the building.
right, and that's a result because of the elevation of the house to bring it up above the floodplain, to get the garage underneath, the steps coming out of the structure. So that we're trying to improve the on-site parking and the benefit of the overall neighborhood with it. So it's a balance of between the zoning requirements and the conservation requirements with this. I mean, we were asked initially by the abutter if we could take the house and push it further away to give some separation. Unfortunately, we can't move the structure any closer to the bank with it.
Yeah, that's often a conflict we see between the zoning requirements and the Wetlands Protection Act, the state law. Town bylaws notwithstanding. So,
Madam Chair, excuse me, could I add one little piece to that, please? Just to kind of dovetail on Zach. I'm sorry. Did I interrupt your thought?
Mr. Sobey was speaking, Joe.
It's
All
okay.
right.
My thoughts are often interrupted, often by me.
Or
I
me.
apologize.
Go ahead, Joe.
Thank you so much. So would the commission be interested in if we were able to perhaps save this section of disturbance, but eliminate the same square footage out of this appendage here? Almost trading square footage for square footage, and I submit that we might be able to take a little bit more, and that's in the same that's actually in our same no build area. Am I correct in that?
Mm-hmm.
Would that be something of interest to the commission? I'm trying to think of both your concerns, which are valid, also trying to think of my client's concern, which are equally valid. And if we're able to trade off square footage for square footage, is that something of interest?
Well, we shall see, don't know. I'm going
Fair
to...
enough. It would actually be part of this structure here, Madam Chair, that we would pull off square footage for square footage, allowing this wall to remain where we currently show it.
Do we have access to the elevation drawings?
We do.
I don't see it in the packet.
Which would you like to see?
Right behind you.
Yeah, I know, but, I mean,
The building, you're starting with what, 17 to 20 feet off the ground?
It's elevation 17 there right now. We have to bring it up to the top of foundation about 2 feet or 3 feet higher because of the floodplain requirements to get it up.
So the pylons will be high, how high before you have the first floor?
So our average grade is at 16 feet, and our first floor elevation is 21, and we have a step down onto the deck surface from the first floor, approximately 7 inches or so. So we're looking at a delta of about 5 feet.
Okay. Scott, did you finish your questions?
More or less.
Paula Jean, I know you were talking, you were working on your questions.
Yeah, I was kind of in the middle of my
Yes.
questions in a blender here. I'm thinking also, and maybe not everyone will agree, but the intent of the rule, when they talk about staying in the same footprint, there's a lot of nuance there, and we're saying it's an old, cute little cottage, you take it down, then you don't put up a monster house in the same footprint. They didn't address the height or the mass, but it's still, I think, the intent was to not, in a sensitive area, that when you take down a house that was in there prior to these rules, you don't then put up something that changes the whole complexion of the area. And it's not worded as such, but it's sort of a gut feeling I have.
We really only consider a project in 2 dimensions.
Yeah.
That is the footprint. We don't.
Right.
It's not up to us to determine if it's
Right,
3 stories or
skyscraper
12
there.
stories or whatever.
But I'm sure that was
Yeah,
the gist
right.
of what they were getting at.
I mean, it would if it affected runoff, for example, and how much energy there was in the water running into the,
Right.
whatever. But for purposes like this, we need to only consider 2 dimensions. And I don't understand what balancing the design means when it comes to what we're responsible for. Like I said before, I'm sensitive to the aesthetic requirements of the architecture. That's not our responsibility.
No, and I think actually our zoning bylaws, I'm sorry, not zoning, our wetlands bylaws speak specifically to situations like this, where, you, in your narrative, you quote an earlier provision, but later on, below that, the no activity zone requirement set forth in this section shall not apply to, right? And then C is projects involving the repair, but not expansion of existing and lawfully located buildings and structures, and on. So I think that, I read that to say that the no activity zone does apply to projects that include the expansion of, even if your building originally was proper and lawful, located, and all of the things it's supposed to be, but that our bylaws, to me, require us to apply our no activity zone in a situation where there is expansion.
But just to, if I may rebut to that, again, does allow an exception for a public benefit and for or environmental improvement. So that the net project would have an overall net environmental improvement by improving the stormwater off, protecting the salt marsh next door, the increased nitrogen reduction. So the
All the
project has an
projects
overall.
have to do that.
And that would apply whether you stayed within the footprint or not. If you stayed within the footprint, all those things would also be true.
And the other issue with the deck, under the state act, one of the exemptions is conversion of lawn area with structures. That is allowed under the state act within it. So again, 310 CMI was created not to stop development, but protect the enhancement and review the actual work of the project to ensure that the temporary impacts and the permanent impacts of the project wouldn't have an impact on the abutting resource areas. So temporary measures can be placed on this, and I speak to that in here with how the erosion control would be done and the overall project. And when the structure's up and built, stormwater improvements there, the maintenance, operation and maintenance can be adhered to. We could do an annual O&M plan to ensure that the on-site stormwater is there. And we have increased on-site recharge with the roof, with the overall project. So.
Anything else, Paula Jean?
No, thank you.
Michael?
No question this time. Mostly my concerns about the 30-foot and activity zones being addressed as well as the deck. Thank you.
Kwame?
I think I mirror what Michael said about the 30-foot no activity zone, because right now it seems like it's going to be a relief from either us or zoning at this point.
It certainly looks like that porch and deck has exceeded the footprint of the house, correct?
It comes outside around the existing structure that's there
Yes, it
today.
does.
Yep. But under current conditions, we have the existing patio that's underneath the deck and everything that's there. And we're removing the existing lawn area by installing the deck.
Somehow I don't, well, never mind, that's just, a deck is not a permanent structure, but that's, I'm looking at the dimensions of the actual structure. I know, it's a tough lot. Scott, you wanted me to come back? You want to wait until we hear from some of the people that are here to talk about the project?
No, I am satisfied at the moment, thank you.
Okay. Anybody here in the audience who would like to speak to the project, please come forward and identify yourself. Then I'll get to the people online and we'll get to the letter we got on February 4th. Please identify yourself.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Tom Majensky, and I am a property owner at 24 Atlantic Avenue, which is across the street from 17 Atlantic Avenue. I've owned the property since 2001 and have enjoyed the area thoroughly. I'd also like to, I was also going to take this moment to welcome George to the neighborhood, but he's not here. First, I want to say that I understand and respect the homeowner's desire to improve their property, and I appreciate the board's work in balancing individual projects with the needs of our very tight coastal neighborhood. However, I do have a few specific concerns I'd like the board and applicant to consider, primarily related to the proposed septic system and the construction logistics. First, my concern is the nitrogen reduction septic system venting.
I'm going to stop you. Some of that has to be outside of our purview, so that is being discussed with the Board of Health, I believe.
I did not get a chance
I'll listen to your comment, knowing that we can't.
Right, can I just get it on the record and we can sew it up?
Yep.
I appreciate it. Okay, first concern, the nitrogen septic system venting. Based on the prior meeting with the Board of Health on January 21st, the ventilation exhaust system was proposed to be moved from the right side of the house to somewhere to the left of the house and in the front yard. This would put the venting system in front of my house. Given our prevailing winds and in close proximity of my home to the street, I'm concerned about the odors or gases being carried directly toward my front door, my family room window, kitchen window as well. As such, I respectfully request that the board consider requiring the septic vent to be routed up through the home roof instead. It is my understanding that this is a common and effective way to disperse any exhaust well above the neighborhood homes and pedestrian beach traffic to the end of the street traffic, thus minimizing potential odor, air quality, and impacts at the street level.
Okay, was that addressed at the Board of Health?
The septic was approved at the Board of Health. They asked us from the abutter at 14 or 15 Atlantic to move it off of the lot line and place it over on the side. We can talk to you about reventing that up. And the vent that they asked us to move is an air intake vent with the blower unit. So it doesn't have exhaust that comes out of it. It sucks air into it with the pump.
Okay, so the Board of Health has approved the plan
They have approved the plan.
with the exhaust vent as it is on the plan.
Relocated.
Tom's concern is the smell coming off of it.
Yes.
And we can look at venting that higher up above the roof line.
Right, so where does the vent exhaust right now, like on your plan? Yeah, because we are really close.
So you really need to speak to the Board of Health.
On that, okay.
Tom will talk to you outside about this if you want. So the venting right now is here. It comes over here. We can take the external vent and bring that up higher up above the roof ridge.
Right, okay, because I'm right across the street right there, right?
Point of order?
Thank you.
Sorry. And then, okay, and then my second concern involves my own septic system, which is located within the roadway. Because of this, the narrow street, I'm just concerned about heavy construction equipment parking or driving over it, which could damage it. I would just appreciate assurances that the contractor will clearly identify and protect existing septic infrastructure during construction.
Josh, which department would handle that? Planning, zoning? Because I don't think it's us.
It could be. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What are we concerned about?
He was concerned of that his septic system is already in the road, and he's concerned of the heavy traffic and construction vehicles that will be going over Atlantic Ave, which is where his septic system is. Who oversees that?
Your septic
Yes,
is
it
in
does,
the
yeah.
road?
Yeah. It's in the
Okay.
road, yes. It's the leaching field? Right, and
Okay.
it's like basically from Roxanne 22, it's as far away from the water as possible. And that's where it is. It's 22 feet long, and it's about 15 feet wide or so in the road. And it's probably, like, we're talking cement trucks and.
Who,
That would be, you could bring that up at the ZBA hearing, and that could be a condition under the ZBA permit that we work with you on
Okay.
identifying that and staking that out as part of the
Yeah.
ZBA permit.
The easiest thing would be you stake it out while the construction's happening, and they just know that they can't go
Right,
in the
yeah.
staked area.
Right, I mean,
Yeah.
you can park a regular truck on it, like, but not like a cement truck.
Okay.
or something.
I'm sure the applicant would be
Well,
happy to
I'm
work
just-
with you at that point.
Okay.
is there anything for conservation in your comments?
No, just that coming and going from the project, just to be notified. Just because
Yep.
we come and go all the time, that's it, and I'm there all the time, here and there.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
There was somebody with a rate that you let in?
I will let them in now.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening to the commission. My name is Attorney Jeff Eugenio, and I represent the John Wybrick Trust. The trustees are the owner of the abutting property at 15 Atlantic. I did submit a letter to the board this morning, or to the commission this morning. I understand that they received it, so I won't belabor every point that is in the letter, and I won't try to belabor all the points that were made this evening. I'd just like to point out that the applicant, in our view, has not made a showing that it satisfies the intent and purpose of the wetlands bylaw, specifically as to the criteria for the exception. I would just point out a number I haven't heard tonight. I think it's important for the board to understand that we're looking at a 50% expansion of the dwelling's footprint. I know the last meeting, the commission requested that they kept within the footprint. If you look at those decks and porches, it indeed does expand the footprint beyond 50% based on what's there. And to this end, the applicant relies heavily on section, it's C1C, which concerns the lot shape, topography, and other physical constraints. It was briefly addressed by the applicant's engineer at the start of the hearing, but of course, all of these conditions have been there, have been unchanged. Essentially, they've just chosen to increase the footprint by a substantial amount, and on that basis, you really can't rely on a peculiar lot shape topography issue here. The applicant's chosen to submit a notice of intent, which again increases his footprint without, in my view, demonstrating there's a net benefit to the public and to the environment, as it was alluded to before during the hearing. I'm looking at a one-page submission. These public benefits were quickly glossed over in the hearing tonight. I just asked the commission to review the remainder of our letter and to ask whether truly the applicant has made a showing that he's entitled to the exception here. I don't think there is when you consider the intent and purpose of the bylaw. And without more, I just don't think there's enough evidence for the commission to weigh those purported public benefits against the strict criteria of the exception and to be allowed to essentially expand that footprint within the 30-foot zone. I appreciate the commission's time and your consideration of this matter.
Thank you for your comment, and that was quite a letter of February 4th. We received it, I've looked at it, and there is a lot in there that is outside of conservation, and there's some things that are part of conservation, and I would like to have more time to review the comments on it regarding this project. Just getting it this afternoon, to me, is doesn't give me a lot of lead time on it. But I am
I
still...
apologize for that.
No, I'm still concerned about the porch and the deck exceeding the size of the initial footprint. What can be done? I mean, I don't see how we can permit the deck and the porch because of the 30-foot.
I believe, again, we've gone over the public benefit
know,
and the
yeah.
environmental benefit. If I may, and Joe, is Sam and George online?
I don't believe they are. They had a loss within their family, so I don't believe they're able to join us tonight.
I would like to ask for a continuance. We have not had a chance to review Mr. Eugenio's letter. I think the commission would
Yep.
like the time for it,
Yes.
and we would like to have the time for it as well.
And you did receive it, correct?
I don't know.
We did not.
I did not see that myself.
You have not.
Madam
Oh.
Chair, from point
It
of
went
order,
to the-
can
it
you
went
tell
to-
me
Sorry,
the...
it went to the client's zoning historic district. Why would it go to historic district? They're not involved in this at all. Historic Commission is, but not Historic District, and a Board of Health, so it has not been sent to the applicant. And so if Jeffrey is still on the line, can you please make sure that your letter gets sent to the applicant?
Madam Chair,
I will absolutely do that. And we do not have updated plans to.
Okay, sorry.
Madam Chair, I believe that might be moot, because the applicants have been requested to reduce the size of the planned house to the original footprint. They've decided not to do that for whatever reason. I think I understand the reason.
They did tweak a little.
We did reduce it.
We did, sir. We did reduce the
Sorry,
size
Scott,
of the house.
I'm sorry, apologize to Scott, I interrupted his train of thought. I do that all the time, I'm sorry.
Me as well, sorry.
I've gotten used to it. It's okay, Madam Chair.
It's not okay for me.
So the point of the letter may be moot because the applicant has not satisfied the reasonable request of the board, of this commission, and therefore the commission certainly could vote to deny the application tonight, notwithstanding the letter, therefore making its further distribution moot. And I'd be willing to make a motion to deny the permit. Once we close the hearing.
Madam Chair, may I ask a question?
Yep, sorry, yes.
May I ask a question? Mr. Sobey, so we did reduce the house per your request. We went to 6 feet, not the 8 feet. Is that outside of the decks? I understand that. Is that the point of your concern? Is that additional 2 feet?
The concern is that if it's 1 centimeter larger than the original footprint, it would be in violation of the bylaw.
So Zach, I think one of the things we should ask of this commission is if they would allow us another continuance, simply so we can discuss this with our client and further address their concerns. And I'll ask the commission for an opinion. I know you can't, not asking for a vote on it, but for an opinion. If we were to trade square footage, if the decks were reduced in size, and if we were able to reduce, trade off square footage for square footage, is that something that this commission would perhaps consider favorably?
To clarify, I think it's structure for structure, so keep the house in the existing footprint of the existing house, but knowing that we have to elevate the house because of the coastal resiliency, the stoops and the decks going around, if we were to match the old previous patio, the sheds, the structures on the lot from the impervious coverage standpoint. So
Yeah.
we're matching the impervious that's existing today, and from that.
Correct.
So you mean you would not exceed the original footprint by
The
1 millimeter?
I would submit, actually, Madam Chair, that we would actually, in our way of thinking, as Zach and I discussed earlier, we would actually reduce the footprint as shown, but request to replace some of the square footage that's taken up in some of the deck spaces, because we do need to be able to get down to ground level from the elevated structure. And so that further clarifies my point.
So the building footprint would stay the same, and then the decks on the outside of it, that would match what the existing patio square footage is there today, and match structure to structure.
So think about this idea of thinking about it in 2 dimensions.
Mhm.
You take the original footprint in 2 dimensions, and you overlay the new structure in 2 dimensions, and they should match, or be smaller, the new one,
Including decks.
including the decks, stairs,
Anything.
everything.
We've heard the commission now. Could we cordially ask for a continuance?
I believe a continuance is requested, and I have no problem with the continuance. I'm not ready to deny the project yet. I want to give the applicant a chance to respond to our concerns one more time.
Appreciate
Thank you,
that.
Madam Chair.
Are they clear enough?
We understand.
I have a question though. When I was looking at the plans and the revised plans, from the one on December 5th, it looks like the existing dwelling is listed as being, give or take, 1,182 square feet. But on the revised plan from January 14th, it's listed as being 1,237 square feet, give or take. What is with the difference between those two?
I'll verify for that and get back to you. I believe it may be the overhangs that are going around the structure.
Okay.
I'll verify that for you.
The eaves should be included in the square footage.
Yes, overhangs, yes.
Yep.
Okay. So I will take a motion to, is 218 sufficient, 18th? You want further?
Can we go further out, because we're in front of ZBA next week on the 11th, and then I'm visiting my son who's graduating boot camp on the 20th, so.
Thank him for the service.
I will.
Yes.
All right, so from 218, what are we talking about, 318?
318 would be good.
It
Is
is
that the first meeting in March?
No,
Second,
a second.
The second? So the other one would be the
March 4th.
4th.
Fourth.
I have a conflict on the 4th, so the 18th would work.
All right. Somebody?
Move to continue until March 18th.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor. Jessica?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Paula Jean?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Kwame?
Yes.
Sandy? Yes, 18th, please.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time this evening.
If you get a chance, go see him in Toby. He would love a visit. Sorry, folks. Different topic.
You get a chance, put the light back on?
All right, we have certification of compliance request. Is that next?
Yes, so there are 2 for the same property. One of them for 49 Edgewater Way with DEP file number 761647. That one is going to be a partial. They did a building addition from that, but they didn't do anything else. And then after that, they had applied again, which they had done the unpermitted work, and they had the notice of intent to remove all the unpermitted work that you guys had specified. And that one will just be a complete certification.
I'm confused.
Me too.
There's 2 certifications. There's an older one that's going to just be a partial because not all of the work was
Okay,
done.
so everything that was done was in compliance.
Yes.
They just didn't do it all.
Yes,
So we can approve 1647.
yes. You can approve it as a partial.
Just once,
47?
yeah, 761647. The work done was in compliance, but they didn't do all the work, and that's not uncommon.
Yes.
So, can I need an approval to approve this certification of compliance for?
Well, just a second. So if the work that was required is not completed, and we grant a certificate, I'm just asking, if we grant a certificate of compliance, what is to compel them to finish the project?
They don't have to.
We're saying that they don't have to finish the stuff that they were required to do?
They asked to do something.
Well, they asked to do it.
They asked to do something. They came before us a notice of intent.
No, this was proposed, but they're asking for the partial because they did one part of what they had proposed, but they didn't do the rest.
So they wanted to build A and B, and they only built A.
And they want the certification for A. And then the second...
Don't go to the second one yet. I'm trying to get the first one on the table.
49 Edgewater.
In other words,
And then, so they've abandoned the rest of the project?
they're saying never mind, right?
I believe that's the answer. Never mind Part B.
Pretty much.
Do we need a letter from them saying we're not going to do it?
No, so this is a much older application. This is from 2000, I want to say 2005 or 2009, something like that. But they did do more work under a different order of conditions, which would close out everything.
What's the older order of conditions? The second one that you're talking about?
Yeah, the 1647.
Okay, was all the work completed for that?
Not all of it. There was a building addition that was done.
Yeah.
So there were things proposed for it. They only did the building addition. They didn't do the other stuff. They requested a partial certificate of compliance for the building addition
How did they request it? That's my question.
from the actual request form.
So, a certificate of compliance request has full completion, partial completion, or none of the work was done at all. So there is a mechanism under the application to ask for a partial certificate of compliance.
Okay.
Let's talk about the older order of conditions, right? That's the second one. What was proposed, and why are they not just trying to close out the entire thing?
So they are trying to close out the entire thing, but they only did the work. They didn't do all of the work under the order of conditions. They just wanted to do part of that work. That was under a different owner. There's a new owner of that house now, or that property now, and that's the one that did the unpermitted work.
I'm going to ask a question. How can they buy a home in which there's outstanding orders of condition? Somebody didn't do their paperwork when...
Or they agreed that having an open order of condition isn't an issue, or...
Sorry.
There are ways that...
They can make that choice as a business decision.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
It's not a requirement.
With the order of condition, the older one, it's from 2004. So there might have been a chance that maybe they just didn't notice it was there, or they just already had the work done there and it expired after.
Okay.
I mean, at this point, it would have expired in 2007.
What was the work that they didn't do?
Let me see if I can get it up. This is an old one.
Yeah.
This one.
And the reason I'm asking is I'm trying to figure out if it was work that was required by the commission or if it was just work that was proposed by the applicant. Right, if the application was we want to put in an addition and the commission said, well, we want you to do a bunch of plantings as well, and now they're only saying, hey, we did the addition, but we're not doing the other stuff, that's an issue.
So the question is, there's something in the order of condition that we tacked on?
Right.
I went researching for this one, I couldn't find it.
I'm sorry, that was the essence of my question. I'm sorry if I was unclear.
No, it makes sense.
Did anybody see Westminster Dog Show for 2 days in a row?
One.
That's
Who's best?
stage of it as well.
Adobe.
Oh, he was
Yeah,
Sorry, I just
nice.
change of pace
No,
while
I-
they're looking.
I love that
Did they
dog
cut its
show.
ears and tail?
The ears were,
Was it cropped?
oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, see, it was, yeah. It's outlawed so many places, yeah. When they, with taped up ears.
Yeah, the vets at our school won't do it.
Yeah, good.
He was a beautiful dog.
It's in a poodle.
He stood his stand. The judge walked all around him and he didn't budge it. Wasn't my favorite dog, but it's all right. He's a beautiful dog. Oh, there were a lot of ankle biters. A Maltese. Little sucker.
Oh.
The wall was not
But a beautiful Afghan hound.
I love watching how they
English
move.
sheepdog. You couldn't see where the dog was with all the hair.
Oh, like a poolie or
Oh,
Old
no,
English?
a big
Old
English sheep, a big English sheepdog, yeah. I can imagine just combing him forever. Sorry, I changed, let it change your pace. I know it's.
How you doing, Jess?
2 hours and 45 minutes now.
Hilarious. Starving.
Do you wish you were here?
Yeah, nice and cool.
I miss you guys. I could say that honestly.
How many iguanas have you picked up off the ground?
It's incredible. It really is happening. The iguanas are falling out of the trees. So
Everybody's
we've found
having roasted
a
iguana.
good many.
People must be being hit. You try not to walk under a tree?
They're everywhere. It's really wild. And how they like get handled and treated. I
There
don't know.
was a picture of somebody picking them all up and putting them in boxes. There were so many of them.
I know. And they're
Thanksgiving turkey.
alive.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna continue
Tame
the
'em
other
and
one
keep 'em
too.
tricky.
So there was one requirement on the older one that was a requirement of the commission, including a dry well. So I'll have to continue the older one to find out whether or not the dry well was installed on the addition as well.
Okay. So no action on 1647.
No,
Thank you,
continue
Scott.
that one.
It's an accident. I accidentally stumbled onto something that we should continue.
Okay, then 2932.
2932 was for the removal of all the unpermitted structures that had come in front of the commission at this property, which has been done, and so it can recommend an issuance of a certificate of compliance.
Move to do with that.
So moved.
The motion was to approve the certification of compliance for 762932. I had a motion, and I heard a second. All in favor, Jessica?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Paula Jean? Michael?
Aye.
Kwame?
Yes.
Sandy, yes. Okay, 1647 is on hold for dry wells.
And for the last one at 72B Burgess Point Road, they also requested a partial because they haven't finished the full thing, but the thing with this one is that it includes new work that wasn't approved under the order of conditions. They did write that in there. New work included a gravel path that is like a gravel access path to allow them to still get to the back of the house, and a fire pit seating area about 37 or so feet from the coastal bank, I believe.
Why would they ask for a partial when the job isn't done?
I think it has something to do with the property owner just wanting to get everything out of the way as quickly as he can.
I think he waits till he finishes it all. I know that's just me.
Was there approval for the fire pit?
No, so the fire pit and the gravel access path were new things that were put in
Without permit.
without the permit. Yeah, it wasn't approved on the original order of conditions.
So why are we thinking about a certificate of compliance when we should be thinking about an
Them amending-
enforcement order?
Or amending their order of conditions that they have already.
Well, then they have to present to us, don't they?
Yeah.
They have to notify their abutters and yada, yada, right?
Yes, they do.
So I'm hearing the recommendation they come back with a modified order of conditions for the things they've done without permit. Is that right?
I think so.
Things they want to do, correct?
They done?
Oh,
Yeah, it's already been done. You can see it
Okay,
under,
so no action on 762735, but issue a request for an amended order of conditions and a enforcement order. Enforcement order for the two things they've done without permit? Enforcement order,
yeah.
and then
amend the order.
to counter the enforcement order, they come back with an amended order of conditions. So an enforcement order, okay, stop looking at your watch, I'm trying, please.
It was a text message.
Oh,
Yeah. Technology.
so we're talking fire pit
Yeah, so the
and
it's gravel pit or gravel path.
The part of the site under the order of conditions that was approved that hasn't been completed yet are the construction of the detached garage, the installation of paved driveway and driveway drainage infrastructure, and the final landscaping of the areas, but that's outside of that's outside of the buffer zone, but it's still in flood zone. And then it was a 10-foot wide gravel access road to maintain access to the rear of the property, and then the fire pit and stone sitting area in the backyard. Those are the two things that weren't approved that they've
okay,
done.
so, to me, unless they're selling the house, I can't see a reason to make a certification of compliance a partial. Either that or they amend the order of conditions to remove all of those things from their order of conditions, from their order, yeah. Remove what if they're not going to do it, remove it. Do an amended order of conditions and remove all those structures. Okay.
Depends on if you are, well, that depends on whether or not you want to allow them to keep the things that they've done, or if you want them to take it out.
Won't know until they come
That'll be
before
after,
us.
Yeah.
Okay, we now have, is anything else? We have that one Reynolds Ave, you're saying they have
They've submitted an application. It'll be on the next meeting.
and 21 Pleasant Street, we're waiting for the spring to see what grows back.
Yeah, so it has already started to grow. I did go out to that location, and there are sprigs coming up. They're not really high yet, but there are a lot of them.
Okay, so it is recovering.
It's growing back pretty quick.
We had a set of minutes for January 7th for us to review, but I don't see it on the agenda.
No, but they were good.
Yeah, they were
They
good.
were fine.
So if you could make a note to add January 7th to the agenda for approving minutes. And one more thing, I gave you a list of minutes that have not even been presented to us.
Yeah, I have to go back and see if I have those from Patty. I don't think I've received a couple of them.
Okay.
So I have to reach out to her.
For the record, I haven't seen April 30th, May 21st, July 2nd, September 3rd. I've not seen those minutes. We have seen and approved 6/18, but it's not on the town website yet. Okay, now the last thing is the conservation restriction is requesting our signature.
Right.
And that has gone out to us several times for our review, and they're asking us to sign it.
It's here tonight, right?
Yes, you have the document for us to sign.
I do, yeah.
And then it's going for the selectmen for signature, and for the record, they've already asked for the 1.2 million from CPC.
It's already been signed by the select board.
Okay, so it needs our signature, so
That's it.
it will be something we'll sign tonight.
Yep.
Do we take a motion to approve it, to sign it?
Do we have to have a motion to sign it?
I would say, go ahead. I make a motion. we
Sure,
si-
so
I-
moved.
Yeah, I make a motion to sign the Wareham Land Trust River Walk Conservation Restriction. I heard that motion.
Yeah, so moved.
I had a second. Jessica?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Paula Jean? Michael?
Aye.
Kwame?
Yes.
Sandy? Yes, just to say, hey, we voted on it. We voted on it when it went to the final state. The state has gotten back, so that's one more document for us to sign. Other than that, can someone please?
Move to adjourn at
Second, yeah.
8:40.
8:40.
8:54, sorry.
8:54.
8:54. I'm not taking a vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Good night, and
Bye,
Jessica,
Jessica.
stay warm.
Yeah,
Good night, you guys.
Thank you for coming.
yeah.
Bye.